right, bad movie fans, we are back with the stunning conclusion to the Malevolent Movies presents The Fight for Summer Fright. Camp Cardiff Giant has come down with a serious case of the August malevolent madness as they drag us kicking and screaming to the bitter end. So fuel up your plane, take off your wedding ring, and recite a prayer from the Book of Goonie, because we're taking off with the 2014 film Left Behind.
All right, hey everybody, welcome to Malevolent Movies, the podcast, episode number 27. And it is a very special episode. It is the final regular episode of our massive Fight for Summer Fright. It is movie number 9, the last movie of August. It is Sean and I, our Camp Cardiff Giant. It was our choice tonight, and what a way to go out. We were given action film, and did we find something with some action? There's some action in it. That's right. There's some action.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of action, a tiny pinch.
There's Nicolas Cage trying to get action, but a lot of people, Chad Michael Murray, a lot of people are trying to get action as well throughout the movie.
True.
And of course, it is 2014's Left Behind. Woo! Ooh, and yeah.
You know, we discussed a lot of movies for this final one. Ryan and I went back and forth, and we had a lot on the plate. And then when Ryan brought up Left Behind with Nick Cage, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just dive in. Fuck it at this point.
Well, I was just having such a hard time because I found stuff I really liked, but then I couldn't let it go. I was like, I know there's something, especially after Trolland. Trolland has been like the carrot in front of me this whole month. It was so hard. And I was like, I got to find something that makes everybody feel as miserable as Trolland did. And I don't know if it's possible, and I still don't know if it was possible, but I watched so many things, and Sean had so many suggestions, and it was just, there were things that I turned off because they were too bad, but I didn't think they would have good conversation. And then, like I said, I was just walking one day, and it just hit me in the head, like the two words, Left Behind. And I thought, oh shit, can I find that? Can I watch that online? And I did, and I was like, yeah, I think that I'm going to suggest this. I think this could be the one. So, and here we are. We've braved the rapture, all of us. And where we left behind?
Did you know, Ryan, when before you got into it, when like you heard that voice in your head when you're walking left behind, did you know that it was like the same concept as the Kirk Cameron film? Okay.
Yes. Because initially when I thought about it, I thought, you know what? I know there's 3 TV movies or 3 straight to video movies or however, they were low budget of the Left Behind book series. And I thought, you know, it'd be funny just to make them watch the 3rd one or the 2nd one. So there's no context going in and make it even harder. But then I started thinking a little more about it. And I was like, maybe we'll just do the one. Huh?
Sorry, so I was going to say they never stopped writing the books. There's like a shit ton of books out there. But I think I'm on a little bit of a delay.
Okay, well, that's all right.
Joe, are you still on your data from earlier today?
No, I'm at my PC.
Okay. Well, why don't you back up from that mic just a tiny bit? You're coming in real hot.
Okay.
Just a touch.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay. Like a microwave lightning bolt.
But Joe, yeah, the books, when I remember when the books were big, I was working at Walden Books in Peru Mall at the time. And so the books were very much part of my life because we'd get them in all the time and having to put them on the shelves all the time. And I remember a coworker describing them to me. He said it's like the nerd version of The Stand. He's like, it's the really lame religious version of The Stand. And from what I've read, that's not inaccurate. At least as the books go on. But we reviewed Left Behind from 2014, and it was going to be a franchise because it just covers, I guess, some of the first book, and the movie didn't do well, so we'll never get the continuing adventures of Buck Williams and Rayford Steele.
Well, this was never going to be a franchise. I mean, there was no hope of that in its future.
Well, it would have. I mean, if it would have made money. I mean, they thought it was going to make money.
I mean, it would have if it was. It would have if it was watchable, maybe.
There's more of a story to tell here. We were kind of left hanging. I mean, we'll get there, but
there's like the Antichrist shows up and all kinds of stuff, I guess. But
there's more meat on this pie that is, didn't follow through.
I have this weird feeling that this movie was made with the general audience, not the Christian audience in mind. This is going to sound weird, but did anybody hear the word rapture in this movie at all?
No.
Okay,
I don't think so.
So I think that they tried to make a more commercial version of this that was palatable with because there's not as much. I mean, there's definitely pushy Christian shit or just religious stuff in general.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, I was surprised that they don't mention the word rapture, and two, I just got this feeling that like. I feel like every time a Christian movie does well, which is it does like 100 or 1,000% of its budget. Yeah. They always make this big deal about, well, Christian films are on the way, and it's like, no, it's one every like 20 years. You get the Passion of the Christ, you get the whatever.
What was the one, The Shed, a couple of years ago, like 2 years ago, and I want to say it had some stars in it. I think it played multiplayer. I think it was called The Shed.
The Shed?
Did they find Jesus living back in the shed?
Joe,
but I think there
is anybody else hearing Joe scream right now?
Yeah,
it's
Joe, you're
bursting my
so
eardrums.
Loud, dude. Oh, good. The Shed.
So, here, I'll try to turn it off.
Shack was
turn
a
your
religious
gain
film.
down or something.
Yeah, The Shack is
It's
got Avatar Man in it.
Shack.
Sam Worthington, Octavia Spencer, and Tim McGraw starring
That's what I was thinking
The
of.
Shack from 202017, available now on HBO Max. Yeah.
But yeah, definitely the religious overtones are turned down. I can't imagine how thick they are in the book and in the Kirk Cameron series, but you know, they're obviously front and center because that's the whole point of the story, and they talk about people going to heaven and everything. But yeah, it plays as kind of enjoyable. Well, if you enjoyed it, enjoyable to anybody, whether or not you believe or not. Just for the Twilight Zone-esque, wow, have to be, people are gone type of like what's going on, Langoliers type of thing. But
yeah.
There we go. I think I'm a little bit more better now. I turned it back down to where it was at.
There you go.
You're good. Thank you, Joe.
That's great,
nice.
Joe. That's perfect. Very good.
But I guess real quick, just one little extra tidbit for movie fans. The director is Vic Armstrong, who is a stuntman and very famous for doubling Harrison Ford throughout the Indiana Jones films, or at least the first three.
Yeah.
And they had a real strong bond, not strong enough to get Harrison in Left Behind, but
yeah, he's not doing this.
Nevertheless,
I already did a plane movie. I'm doing another one.
But I thought that was interesting. Career as a stunt guy, doubling Harrison Ford in the Stuntman's Hall of Fame, doing all these things, and then also I'm gonna direct this big budget Christian film with Nicolas Cage. All right.
I'm already out of steam,
ready.
so yeah.
Huh?
I said I'm already out of steam.
Yeah. Well, I just brewed another pot of coffee with my second one today. So
a pot?
Yeah.
Right.
It's gonna vibrate through the chair.
I'm gonna need it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need it, man. I had two sections. I got the beginning and the end.
That's true.
I have two sections too, because Zach bailed on me, that bastard.
Oh, that's right. All right.
I should have given it to Trevor.
Nope. Sorry. I'm doing some research for our drinks, so I'm gonna be a little silly tonight. Sorry
about that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, holy water. All right.
Close enough.
Before we jump in, Ryan, can I ask a question to everybody, the group in general?
Yeah.
I didn't know one thing about this movie. I didn't look it up. I didn't know what the plot was. I knew it had the same title as the other Left Behind with Kirk Cameron, but I assumed it was just a coincidence. So I went in completely blind to this thing. So you're on the same page, Trevor?
Yeah, I didn't know. I knew it was the Rapture movie.
See, I didn't even know that.
Except Nick Cage is in it this time. I didn't know that. I didn't know that this was an airplane movie. That was kind of fun. I like a good airplane movie. I like a bad airplane movie. But yeah, I did a little bit of research on this because I had I've known what Left Behind is in theory, like in themes and everything, but I've never seen the Kirk Cameron one because no, and I never planned to see this one for a similar reason. But here we are. But before we start, I'm sorry, Ryan, I had to do a little bit of research on Left Behind.
By all means.
So
that was a dramatic pause.
There's a lot of hubbub made about it being Nick Cage's character's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
When is his birthday? You might be asking yourself.
Oh, come on. Oh,
so
no, I know where this is going.
So I did a little research. Now, I'm not going to raise as much of a stink because, in all fairness, this is the date in the books. It is never said in the movie. There is no allusions to it in the movie, but to leave no stone left unturned. I did some research. This fucking thing takes place in February, my dude.
Oh.
I know.
Well, I could see that in the books because they added a lot of characters. I searched high and low.
I was going to say
for Martin Kleba's character in the book, who's not.
Nope, not in there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
We got him.
Here's my
that's interesting.
Shut up, Joe.
Is it Joe? You know what else is interesting, and I appreciate Trevor going in on that after all the trouble we gave Baby Geniuses being set on Christmas Day,
very blatantly, but also not blatantly at Christmas.
But I will say, here are the pieces of evidence that I have that makes me feel that it's not February.
Right. Well, and that's why I mean the book explicitly is February. The movie, believe me when I tell you, I have my eyes glued to the screen looking for any. There's so many. You're in an airport. How is there not a date anywhere? There's not. You get a pass, but I had to bring it up. Well, for the fans, for me and Zach and I had such a good time yesterday when I found this out.
Because Sean, I don't know, since the last episode, if you knew this, as we watch Baby Geniuses and we're like, wait a minute, this entire movie's covered in Christmas decorations. Like it's supposed
but
to be.
The thing is, Zach and I both watched it and didn't clock Christmas. Tyler watched it, didn't even notice that it was Christmas time because they never. Because they never mention it being Christmas. It's shot in California. It looks like summertime, but sure enough, once you get past, I guess I couldn't get past the Baby Geniuses of it all because the second once Tyler gave me a heads up, I went back and there's stockings, there's a Santa Claus, they're singing Joy to the World. I thought it was just it's a goof. There's Christmas tree. Like I can't, it's the whole thing. Go back and listen to last week's episode. Yeah, it was the whole thing. It was fun.
But for this movie, the reason I felt, even though no date is mentioned, I think at the very latest, I would say that it was a spring break type of thing. And these are the reasons why. One, they make a big deal about her being in college and how's school going. Two, Nicolas Cage at point says, you haven't been home since Christmas. February wouldn't have been a big deal. That's only a handful of weeks.
Oh, no, maybe last Christmas.
Well, maybe.
Could be.
And it's set in New York and everything's green.
Yep. I
know. I would imagine in the state of New York, if it's green, it's got to be late spring or something.
Yeah, has to be.
If it's anything like Illinois.
But U2 concerts only occur in February.
But that was in London.
Still. It's still if it's February in New York, it's gonna be February in London, Ryan. That's not how time zones work.
It's a beautiful day.
London's not that far away.
During a beautiful day. That's the U2 combo.
That's fine. I get it. Listen, I just had to.
I appreciate you digging in, Trevor.
I got to keep you honest.
You know what's clearly said during the summer? Trolland.
Exactly. It looks like Camp Gastronaut might be the only one that actually picked a summer movie this time.
No. I mean, but shut up. Ain't the point.
How about you zip your lip, Joe, until your section? All right. Is that okay?
Yeah, do that.
I had a lot of Joe today. I'm sorry. Before.
Oh, okay.
So is Tyler.
Full up on Joe.
All right. Well, let's dive into Left Behind because this is the longest movie I believe we've ever covered.
It sure is.
Is it? Oh,
yeah.
God.
I think
an hour and 50 minutes.
50.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. All right. So the movie begins. The opening credits are over shots of a busy airport. We learn quickly that it's JFK Airport. We see a blonde girl entering the airport from the gate. She's just arrived and she's on her phone and she calls somebody. We see the person she calls and it's actress Leah Thompson from Back to the Future fame. And the blonde girl addresses her as Mom. Leah Thompson addresses her as Chloe. So now we have our first two characters, Mom, who's also named Irene, just for levity's sake, or brevity's sake, and Chloe. We get this back and forth conversation where Irene says, "You're home. Your brother is bouncing off the walls to see you." And Chloe says, "Everything ready for Dad's birthday party?" "Oh, he's not going to be here. He got called into work. He's a pilot." "What's his flight?" London will tell Raimi I'll be home before supper. So we know that there's a little brother named Raimi. We know that her father is a pilot. She's home for a surprise birthday party, and that the father will not be around because he is flying to London, and Chloe's going to find him. We get this information very quickly, and I was very happy about that in a very exposition-heavy movie.
Oh, and we also learned that she was going to school at the University of Central Arkansas.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I just saw it on her shirt, so I decided to look it up.
So she flew a little ways. Irene hangs up and she's sad. She looks sad. She looks forlorn, and we see that she's looking down at a family photo, which includes Dad. And Dad is Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. It's Nicolas Cage.
It looks like he's drawn into the picture.
Yeah.
It's a very odd photo.
It's pretty bad looking.
Well, they couldn't afford. I mean, this is why Nick was on the plane, is because he got to film all of his stuff in a studio in California, where they were probably all at, a church camp shelter.
In Atlanta.
Yeah, in Atlanta. And so, he was never going to show up for that picture.
No.
You know what he did? He threw his shirt on. He stood in front of a blank wall, and he had his, intern or... what are they called? Not interns.
Is this a personal assistant?
PA, production assistant.
PA. Did you say presidential?
No, he said production. I heard him.
Oh, okay. I thought you said presidential assistant. It's like, all right, yeah. I mean, I like Nick Cage too, but
he could be our next president.
Has he ever played a president in a movie? Point. I feel he
Let's
probably
find
has.
out. Probably
Pretty close. He will anyway. Then we cut back to the airport and we see handsome TV star Chad Michael Murray is walking through the airport, and he's being followed by random people who are holding up their phones, taking pictures. He even gives an autograph, so he must be something special.
Now, hold on a second. I mean, we know who he is, so we don't have to spoil it yet. But I mean, does somebody really? Do they really care? Like the news guy? I mean, it's not. I mean, if it was Al Roker, I could get that. But
I need to see what kind of news guy he is.
He seems like a Vice news guy to me, personally.
Okay.
Well, no, they say what he does. He goes. He's the guy. He works for a CNN knockoff, basically.
Okay.
And he's the guy that goes and reports from all of the dangerous places.
Okay.
So he goes where the tsunami is. He's kind of like an action star.
Anderson Cooper.
I was going to say a grittier Anderson Cooper type.
Yeah. And plus he's real good looking. So, and the fact that he goes all these places, I can see where he's a bit of a
if I see Anderson Cooper at O'Hare, I'm going to talk to the guy. Hey, Mr. Cooper, I loved you on The Mole, sir.
I watched you on Channel 1 in high school. And your hair was not white.
Yeah.
Serena Altschul. Then she went to MTV. Let's see, Raleigh Valverde too. I remember all those guys.
Ryan is fucking Rip Van Winkle today. I was at the Walden Books.
I remember the Walden Books.
I got the pretzel at Ditto's, and I walked up and down and looked at the Spencer's gifts.
We were friends with one of the guys who worked at Spencer.
There you go.
We know all the Spencer's folks.
We get a little discount.
Okay, so Chad Michael Murray. He is stopped by a small group of people, including a woman who runs over to him after buying a book at their little bookstore. She says to him, "You must feel as if you've seen it all. You seem to be in the middle of a new disaster every time I turn on the news." He says, "Well, it's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it." And the woman says, "May I ask you a question, Mr. Williams? Do you read the Bible?" He says, "I guess not as often as you do." Because he knows the type already. And she comes in real hot. Well, Matthew 24, verse 7 says, "There shall be famines, pestilence, and earthquakes in diverse places." Although she says divers. She pronounced it divers, but it's diverse. And then she says, all these disasters and wars are signs. These are signs of something coming, the end. Chloe overhears all this. She butts in and asks the woman, basically, if God knew all these things were going to happen, why didn't he do something? Why didn't he stop the floods and the famine? And the woman says, well, God created a perfect world and we just ruined it. Chloe said, I ruined it? Did you ruin it? Did this guy ruin it? But God loves us, right? Yeah, he works in mysterious ways. Well, what's mysterious is that people still love God, even though he breaks shit and ruins shit and floods and whatnot. And then it's basically that conversation. And then she goes, sorry to interrupt, and she leaves.
So that was a very, I guess, self-centered response on Chloe's part. Like, I didn't do it.
They're trying to establish two things. One, Chloe doesn't walk the path. and two, that like apparently this event is predicted in a sense that like transcends like reality, because they make such a big, that woman, and then they make a big deal about Nick Cage and other people who know his wife or the mother. They make such a big deal. She knew it was happening. All of the disasters that she knew. And it's like, I don't think that's how that's supposed to work, is that people can just predict that, because people do that these days. Something falls over and everybody's like, well, Jesus hates the gays, so we're going back to heaven now. But like, that's what leads me to think that this is not meant for the Christian population, because that woman that runs up also looks like an asshole. She comes across as an asshole. I don't know what that character's supposed to be.
Right. All the Christians we see in the movie are played up as like deliberate assholes. So it's like, okay. Yeah. Who is this movie for?
Yeah. Maybe that's because, this is only the first part of the story. I'm sure that as these 3 books go on, everybody we see comes around. And because there's a war, there's like I said, I believe there's like an Antichrist, and it like the Stand, they divide off into camps. And
I went to the wiki. That's where I found out that this was in February. And there's like the first, like, oh yeah, this Buck Williams guy is like the leader of the resistance. Like, wait, what the fuck? He's a guy on a plane in this movie.
Many Boston's died getting this.
Is like Williams. The first, exactly. Many Chad Michael Murray's died. Is this like the first half of the book? Do we know? Do we have any idea?
I don't know how much. Yeah, I don't know how
it's
much
not
of
the whole
book
thing
is covered, but it is a book.
It's like Act 1 of the book. I feel like nothing happens in this movie.
Because I want to say that in the Kirk Cameron ones, like the guy who plays the Antichrist is one of the guys from like the Puppet Master sequels. I just remember seeing him on the cover of the video store box, and I'd be like, "Oh, that's the Puppet Master guy."
Yeah.
But yeah, there is an Antichrist later, so I think some of the questions we may end up having as the movie goes on, it's probably just based on the fact this is like supposed to be like a part 1.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is indicative of. I'm just going off the synopsis of the book's summary on Wikipedia. Okay. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Jesus.
Well, hold on. Basically 9 sentences or sentence chunks. This movie is just the first sentence chunk. Basically, a journalist is on a plane going to London, and then it ends with them landing in Chicago. And then there's still like, that's 1/8 of the synopsis or the plot summary.
Crap. Okay.
Yeah, they could have popped out like 30 of these fuckers.
This involves Scotland Yard, the United Nations, the Antichrist.
Yeah, they got none of that in this.
How high up does this thing go?
All the way to heaven, Nick.
All the way to heaven.
That's the thing. All the way to the big man upstairs.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, fucker. Get out of my movie show.
Joe, when we're done recording, your next assignment for Man with No Brain is to read the entire series of books.
Your assignment is to read the Bible.
Can I just watch the Left Behind porno instead?
No.
The porn parody?
Maybe after
Joe, if you
read
can find a Left Behind porn parody for every book, fine.
Yeah.
Okay. There's got to be at least one.
Turn on incognito mode real quick. Hold on.
All right. Anyway, so we have that little altercation with Chloe and the religious woman, and as that scene ends, we notice that Mr. Williams, Chad Michael Murray, gives her a very seductive look. He is interested in this sassy girl who came in and saved him from this awkward conversation. We then cut to a woman in a car at the airport, and she's applying lipstick as some Full House-esque scene transition music plays. It's just
that's what it is.
That's what it felt like.
I couldn't. There's some in my section, and I couldn't put my finger on it. Oh, thank you.
There's, I don't know if this really continued for the whole movie, but it seemed like for like the first maybe 20 minutes, every bit of dialogue, there was like this, I don't know, sappy melodramatic music playing over like everything every character was saying. It was a bit much.
It's a lot.
Well, I mean, it's like if like Hallmark had like a couple like $1 million.
What do you mean?
You mean like a Hallmark
movie? Just the whole movie. It's like a Hallmark movie if they spent like $2 million on it.
I gotcha.
Well, to Joe's point, okay, so like I said, I did not know anything about this going in. Nothing. I didn't do any research. I didn't do any plot synopsis. You said Nick Cage. You said shitty. You said 1 star. I'm in. Right. And so I'm going in. I'm flying completely blind, almost like Nick Cage later on.
Hey.
And when all these scenes that we're talking about in this airport, in the sappy music, and all these drawn out long conversations, I had flashbacks of when we did that film fest and had to sit through that god awful movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're supposed to have this is supposed to be an action movie, and I'm like, there's not gonna be any action in this. This is. I'm like, Ryan's pulling a job on us all here.
I should have just out of spite of this entire month of Trolland, and I should have been. I should have just. I don't know. I should have picked a mini series, so it was like fucking 8 hours.
Absolutely not.
But yeah, the music is definitely not a positive thing throughout this movie.
Evidence no.
Anyway, we see that this woman that's in the car, she has on a flight attendant outfit. She's very attractive. She puts on some sunglasses and smiles as she sees a car pull up and park in the pilot parking corral. She gets out of her vehicle.
Corral?
Yeah, what do you call it? Stall, I guess.
The parking spot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Galloped in on a horse.
Yeah, he ties his horse up. All right, Biscuit, don't run away now here.
That's a pretty good impression. That's
fantastic. Yeah, that's.
I want to hear more
you.
of that.
Yeah,
I'll keep that in mind.
We then cut to a man's hand as he takes off his wedding ring and puts it into the center console of the car. He steps out of the car and we see there he is, Mr.
The man
Nicolas Cage
himself.
Pilot Rayford Steele. We'll just get it right out there. Rayford Steele is his name. He's a pilot. He's reporting for duty. He sees the flight attendant and he smiles. She approaches him with her rolling carry-on, going my way. Ray smiles and they get on the elevator. Inside the airport, Chloe is sitting at a small table.
There's any chance that was actually Nick's last day on the set, and he's just like, "I'm leaving. I'm leaving with the costume on. I'm going back to LA."
100%. Mr. Cage, we need the costume. No, he just drives away.
No,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. And that's it.
Nicolas Cage only talks when you pay him to. At this point, he does so many movies, he refuses to talk unless he's on a set.
Yeah. Oh man, he's trying to pay off a Superman comic or some shit.
I'm sorry, I have my mic pack turned off. I'm going to need to keep this costume.
Yeah.
So now we're back inside the airport, and Chloe is sitting at a small table. She's relaxing, waiting to find her father. She's then approached by Chad Michael Murray. We find out he introduces himself. His name is Cameron Williams, Buck to his friends, which made me think of Joe Buckley, which soured me a little bit.
Ooh.
Okay. Then he thanks her for rescuing him from the nutty lady. Chloe says she is practicing a similar speech for her wacko mother. Buck then offers to buy her a coffee. He's flirting. He's giving her those bedroom eyes. She declines as she says she's waiting for her dad because she came home to surprise him for his birthday. And just then she hears and sees her father come up the escalator, and he's obviously flirting with the flight attendant, and she's even wearing his pilot hat.
He grabs her ass, and I think he popped a finger in.
Ooh.
I'm lying.
You're right. When he gave Chloe a Dirty Sanchez, but he came up to her.
Oh God!
I was just gonna say his wedding ring was missing, but fine.
Well, he took it off.
Well, he already took it off.
No, he's got it.
Yeah, we all got multiples. I get it. Honest at all times.
Anyway, she's even wearing his pilot's hat.
Yeah.
But then he notices her.
He's not being very sneaky or smart about this whole affair thing.
Oh, it gets worse.
He didn't know that she was going to be there, right? He had no idea.
He had no idea she was going to be in town. He certainly had no idea she was going to be.
I will say this. There are moments of Nick Cage's acting where it's like, this guy is doing it. Like when he spots her, like I was like, oh, wow, look at that face. Like he's Nick's acting.
Listen, he's got it.
And then there's certainly moments in the plane where he's like, can we fucking be done today?
No kidding. Like just.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot.
A lot of phoning it in for Mr. Cage. But then he does have those, he does have those little little Cajun flourishes though. That just it gets you over the humps. He gets those little moments, and he has one coming up at the table that's really great. But he gets one here too. He does. He sees Chloe, and he does a classic sort of double take.
Yeah, where he takes the glasses off.
Sees her. Yeah, pulls off his shades. He immediately then ditches the flight attendant, telling her, "Oh, have a nice flight," and he takes the hat right off her head.
See, this should have been a comedy. He should have kicked her down the escalator.
Give me back my hat, and he kicks her.
Who the fuck do you think you are, lady? That's my hat.
Yeah.
He makes a beeline right to Chloe, confused, and he has this confused, nervous smile, like he's real unsettled. He says, "Hi, honey," and they embrace. She says, "I was going to surprise you for your birthday." He's like, "Oh, but I got called in." Ray then turns and recognizes Buck, and Buck introduces himself, and then he leaves them alone. Makes you think that he's like, "Nice meeting you, Chloe," blah, blah, blah. You think that's the end of Buck in this story. Ray and Chloe then sit down. They have some awkward silence for a while. And then we get another classic Nicolas Cage flourish where he blinks real fast and goes, "What?" Like he just does this little weird Nicolas Cage bit. And it made me happy. Chloe then says that,
what?
Yeah, his eyes are like a cartoon. Chloe says that when her mom said Ray was gone, she thought you must have left for good, letting us know that there are problems in the marriage. He says he obviously didn't. I didn't leave you. You said I left. I'm not. He starts doing this thing because he's real nervous and feeling guilty. Chloe then asks about the flight attendant. Ray plays dumb. I don't know. I see all kinds of blonde flight attendants. I don't even know their name half the time. He's really spinning his wheels.
I've never met a flight attendant before.
What is a flight? He's like, "Where am I?" He gets under the table and starts crying.
A what attendant? I'm sorry. What did you say?
They're called
being like some kind of
honey.
plane.
Oh, sorry. Do you mean a stewardess? Yeah, he plays dumb. And then Chloe starts talking about, well, things would be different had mom not drank the Kool-Aid. Ray then explains how, we got married young and changes occur. A lot of changes occur between the ages of 20 and 50. People change. Your mother is doing what she thinks is best for herself. Give her a break. Chloe says, but I feel like she's always just trying to shove it down my throat. Ray then agrees it's been tough, but they should still be supportive. Ray says he misses her, but if she's going to run off with another man, why not Jesus? And there we finally get all the pieces of the puzzle that we've been assuming. Irene has become a super duper religious person and is kind of pushing away everybody in her life because of it. Chloe then asks him where his wedding ring is. And he says, I left it in the car. I don't wear it when I fly. Where's the wedding ring when they fly? He then swears that he would never even do anything. He wouldn't mess anything up with her mom, and says, well, I got to go. Then he gives her his car keys so she can have some wheels while she's home. And then he heads on over to the gate where the hot blonde flight attendant he denied knowing is waiting for him, smiling seductively in plain sight of Chloe. There's no hiding. He just said all that shit. And then he's like, well, I got to go. And he goes right towards the hot girl that's staring at him. It's just, I laughed. It's fantastic.
Again, would have been so much funnier if her face was shredded up from the escalator and she's still like, hey, sailor.
Hi there, Mr. Cage.
I could eat a peach for hours. We cut to inside the plane. Ray's in the middle of telling a joke. Yeah, it's one of these things where I've always loved where you come in on a joke, but it's toward the end and all you hear is a punchline. It makes no sense, but everybody laughs.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't hear the first part. I love that. I love that bit. And we got one of those. So Ray's in the middle of telling a joke to the hot blonde flight attendant, who we find out is named Hattie. She laughs at his joke while another attendant, Kimmy, doesn't think it's funny. Hattie tells Ray, you can come to me anytime with more bad jokes. Ray sort of goes, looks all nervous and fiddles with his hat and then leaves and goes back to the cockpit. Cut to the cockpit. Ray is settling in with some banter on the radio, and we get real quick to see that his co-pilot for fans of Fright Night is the lead from Fright Night, William Ragsdale, Charlie Brewster, to add to the cameo aspect of August.
Very good.
I wish we could have got a little more of Charlie Brewster, but that's all right. Back at the airport, Chloe and Buck are enjoying some scones and still talking about religion. They're just chatting.
Yep. And it keeps going.
Oh yeah. It's very talky. The first 20 minutes are very talky.
Mm-hmm. A whole lot of nothing in this movie.
Yeah. Buck then tells a story of a woman he met while covering a tsunami who lost most of her family in the tsunami, but still believed God loved her and had saved her and her remaining baby. She then refused to leave for the evacuation because she claims that God was obviously looking out for me and would keep me safe. Nevertheless, she was killed later that night in a mudslide. Chloe says, well, how do people see all that stuff and still believe in God? And Buck says, if you look hard enough, you'll see whatever it is you're looking for. And that is the end of my first segment.
Right, I've got this next section. All right.
Joe's grabbing his Bible.
Okay, so
in the beginning. God created he just reads us Genesis.
So see, there's this cool guy named Cain, and his brother Abel's real pissed at him. Like,
get it.
Smacked him in the back of the head.
Joe, we get it. You're a huge fan of Year One. We got
it. Can't get enough.
So the two stewardesses.
Hey Joe.
Are giving
Joe.
Mini, what?
Just say flight attendant. Easier to say and better thing to call them these days.
Patty say? And Kimmy too. It's if they even easier. We got their names now.
What did Joe say? Stewardess? Is that what he was trying to say?
He was trying to.
I was trying my very
women
best.
of the sky.
The sky ladies.
Two sky ladies are talking.
Sky ladies.
So they're getting the mini vodka shots ready when the main one brings up that she's going to get dick from. Yeah, I saw.
Joe,
you
can turn your gain up a tiny bit. You can turn your gain up a tiny bit.
You're actually a little quiet now. For the first time.
Let's find that sweet spot.
And we got to hear your bits as you try to add jokes and stuff that wasn't really in the movie as you explain it.
How about now? Yeah. Do I sound good?
Even a tiny bit more.
Yeah, just a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
Well,
okay,
that's nice. So you tend to crank things.
Now, Joe, remember, you just turned your mic up, so don't change. Don't also speak louder now.
Okay. So the main one's gonna get some dick from Ray later, but it is confidential, so don't be talking about it out of turn.
Yep, that's exactly how that conversation went.
Hey,
yep.
Essentially.
Be cool. I'm gonna fuck the captain later.
Yeah, he's gonna go in me.
Oh, Joe, come on.
So Buck and Chloe have to say their goodbyes because his flight is leaving, but he promises to call her from London. An airplane cart man.
Just let him go.
I'm sorry, Joe. I'm sorry.
Come on, Joe. You're a professional podcast.
London is right next to Trolland.
Mm-hmm. It's London. I know how to say things.
London town. Sorry.
London Bridge is falling down.
Sure.
So the cart man comes up with U2 tickets for her dad.
I don't know what to call him though.
It's a guy in like a gate or whatever they call it.
Like go-kart.
It
is airplane go-kart.
It is. Yeah, Joe's not like wrong. I don't know what I would call this thing either. I guess I would probably call it a go-kart too.
Yeah.
Golf cart.
A golf cart. Yes, there you go. You see him from time to time. Old folks ride them at the airport.
So he comes up with U2 tickets for her dad, revealing that he had been planning his trip for weeks. Buck, take the tickets.
This guy really fucked it up, though.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, but also he has no business knowing who this woman is. I don't believe for a second that the pilot is telling everybody in baggage and security who his daughter is.
Hey, watch out for my daughter today.
Yeah,
she's coming in.
Also, fuck that lazy guy. Like, those tickets aren't for her. Like, he's just assuming that she's going to be on his plane. Like, yeah. So the guy's...
Well, I think this whole thing is... It's his birthday, and she is back. And I feel like the point they're trying to make is that, oh, shit, you're back for his birthday? Oh, my gosh, I bet you can have a great time. It's going to be great.
Oh, it's the two of you going to U2.
Here's those U2 tickets. It must be for the, oh, my God, you're going to have a great time. Bono's going to be there doing his thing. But then, nope, he's going to go doink that lady from Scrubs, who's the flight attendant in this movie. Yeah, so I think it's just trying to show that he's lied to, like, everybody about this weekend. He's a bad man, that Nick Cage.
So Buck takes the tickets for her and gives her a smooch and then passes them off to Cage in the plane.
Yep.
Chloe gets out to her father's car and is disappointed to see his wedding ring left behind.
Oh,
The first class section.
Hey.
drink. Somebody said left behind.
Yeah, no, I know. I wrote that in specifically.
Very good, Joe. I appreciate it.
And all I think of is Slipknot every time we talk. We say left. It's been in my head for 3 weeks, that song.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that song, actually, but I just keep thinking about it every time someone says left behind. Anyway.
So the first class section seems like you can put your feet up, while in the back everyone's crammed in like licorice and the kids are throwing shit around.
Like licorice.
This is fascinating. Joe almost never likes to get to the grit of these movies, but here he is. He sees people, well, the fucking plane, it's just so small, everybody's crammed together like sardines. Joe, have you ever flown before?
No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to be on a thing for 6 hours. I can barely be in a car for 30 minutes. I don't like it.
A 6-hour flight is different from
why
like
are you
a
going to
2-hour
London?
flight. Yeah. You've never been on a plane, Joe?
No, never. Nope.
No. I mean, I'm saying that like it's a thrilling experience. It's not really. It does kind of suck, but like it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I do think you would be miserable.
I don't really want to get any closer to God because I think he might kill me.
Oh shit, he's coming up here. Quick, snatch him. Get that big net thing. Come on. We got to pluck him back. He's not done yet.
Jeez.
All right, we're down with the licorice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We get to meet the other characters in the movie. Muslim guy, little guy, old couple, mother and daughter, old businessman, Asian geek, and fat sleepy guy.
He's not
Chloe
wrong.
arrived back.
That's the thing.
I was wondering when I saw he had this section how he was going to introduce all of his characters in his own way.
Little guy, a Muslim guy.
Old fuck. So
Jesus, what was that?
The soundboard. You just clicked a button. Old fuck.
yeah.
Joe.
Chloe arrived back at her parents' house, and her little brother is delighted to see her, especially because she arrived with a new catcher's mitt. Back on the plane, the Asian man, he details a new rumor he heard about the Air Force developing a new carrier that can turn a 6-hour flight into 6 minutes. But he says they're probably lying about it, and the aliens might be responsible.
I wasn't sure
Chloe
if
and her
this
mom.
is. He mentions this. I don't know if this character is specifically meant to be kind of like a red herring, and I'll get to this kind of my part about how there is no real twist in this movie, but like it seems like this is setting up a red herring to be like, oh, maybe it's aliens that do it. Maybe it's a government thing. And we have this weird character that's into all these like weird conspiracies and stuff. And did they really not think? Did they really think that this was going to be a surprise? I don't know.
No, I think it's
for me, Nick.
Sean was
It was all a surprise for me.
You poor kid.
I think that they're trying to make a comment on, like, they're trying to address all these things that it could be, but it's not. It isn't. It was the rapture.
It's the
Lord. I know that, but like, I don't know. Is
again?
that...
I don't think any of this is like. Because there's several parts in here where I bitch about like how this is not a movie. It's not made to be a movie. It's made to project a message to people who I don't think normally would consume it. And so it's like you get Nick Cage, you get Howard the Duck's girlfriend, you get the whole team together, Chad Michael Murray,
Howard the Duck's girlfriend,
and you're basically just trying to get people to watch the movie, give it a chance, and then it's like you keep sucking them in because it's like the revelation of what it isn't until like an hour and 15 minutes into the movie. Like our characters realizing it. And I think that's the point is you're supposed to go through all these logic leaps to get to the rational conclusion here, folks.
But
right. That's because it's so unbelievable and stupid for that to actually be the thing.
But is it really?
Yeah. But also the audience knows that already. We know this going in.
This isn't
Sean
a surprise.
I don't know.
I guess Sean did. Never mind.
No.
I didn't know what the movie was like. If I first saw the movie, like, oh, I don't know what this is. I'll go see it. I'm sitting in the theater. Within like
10
I couldn't
minutes,
imagine. Then like 10 minutes, I'm gonna know what this movie's about. But
You look at the cover and you see Nick Cage like walking past flames, and he's like, "What, left behind? What, did he leave like a child behind? He's got to go find his kid."
Do you think that it's perhaps some of these things that these characters do is the authors, maybe the original authors, they're trying to give these characters who are not Christian certain attributes that they feel are unchristian-like. So of course later, we find out that one of the girls is an addict. One guy is the businessman. He's all about money. So, he's always after the golden calf.
One guy's a midget. That's unchristian-like.
Joe, little person.
He's an asshole. That's his problem.
He's a gambler.
He's judgmental. He's racist. He's
a gambler too.
Yeah, he's a gambler. And so maybe this is a religious thing. If you believe in these sort of conspiracies that involve the government and technology, maybe that's a very anti-Christian thing. I don't know. I'm just speculating. Based on the fact that all these characters have certain attributes that maybe your hardcore Christians see as, problems.
I know this is based on something, but like it would be much more interesting if like the mom who was super religious didn't get raptured. Maybe she's got a flaw. Maybe there's something. Maybe we picked the wrong side.
You're trying to make a movie, Nick. You're trying to make a movie. They
do that with the pastor a little bit. I think the same sort.
Yeah, pastor does something similar.
And I think that character shows up in the later books. So
it's just the whole thing is a little too sincere for me. I guess I think I need God is terrible and he hates all of us.
No,
I think that's what I needed in this.
He loves us all, Nick.
Yeah, except for the little person.
Yeah, except for Martin Kleba or whatever his name is.
Yeah. He's got he gets the biggest laugh in the movie though. I think, but we'll get to that.
Ryan's very excited about that part.
I'm gonna one more little tangent. Did these characters that got raptured or did not get raptured? Do they end up learning a lesson? We don't need an answer right now, but I think I want an answer to that by the end of this episode.
No, they learned their repent.
They grow. I don't know.
No, because Nicolas Cage has a line towards the end of the movie where, spoiler alert, the plane's leaking fuel and they're going to crash unless they land it soon. He has a line where he says, "I need to land this thing because I need to give these people an opportunity to make up for their mistakes," or something along those lines.
Well, not like, in the eyes of God, but like, do they at least like, they seem like they all change a little bit. They go from like storming the cabin of the airplane and like about to shoot each other and like accusing of each other of like, eventually the Muslim guy and Martin Kleber, they seem like they're buddies. There's like a buddy cop thing going on.
They don't, and that's a big thing. That's why the bit at the end is so delicious.
But I thought that was them having fun together.
No.
Okay.
Even Hattie yells at him for it.
Okay.
I will say this though. If you were to
I'm
ask
so excited
me
about that bit.
If you were to ask me in 2014 if this movie needed or deserved a sequel, I would say no. But if you were to ask me today, I would say yes, because I want the movie to take the sequel to take place right at the end of this movie, and I want to see all these characters how they look now, especially Nicolas Cage. They all look like shit. Everybody's older. Make one of these every 7 years, and then the last one, Nick's 110 years old, still playing the same pilot.
It shouldn't. It should take place 7 years after the movie because that's how long the war after the rapture is going to last.
Well,
we should be seeing the waning days of the war between heaven and hell on Earth.
But Nick, there are how many books in this series?
I don't give a shit.
9.
I think there's I think there's more than that.
I wanted to say it was initially a trilogy, and
there's
the main story is
16.
like a trilogy, and then
Jesus,
16.
There's almost more Goosebumps.
And there's a kids version too. Like they made a kids version of the books too.
What would you do for kids? All the kids get raptured.
They've made some prequels. Yeah.
How do you make a prequel to this?
For the prequel, it's just a normal story. It's just Chloe going to school.
If you release the chronological order of the books, Left Behind is the fourth one. There's The Rising.
Oh my
the Regime,
God! This
the
is not
Rapture.
fucking Star Wars. Come on.
It's Star Wars for our grandmas.
This is the expanded universe of the Bible.
Yeah. Oh, this is.
Do you think there's a podcast out there dedicated to Left Behind,
absolutely.
all the books and all the movies?
If there is, I want to be on it.
I will subdue it.
We're historians now.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, do you guys need 7 guests for your episode? We'll only do it if we can all do it.
My next guests watch the movie one time. Here they are.
We get one microphone for all 7 of us.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's just 30 minutes total of us passing the microphone around.
Yeah, Joe's cranking his gain.
All right, Joe, what happened next?
Chloe and her mom talk about school and her flight, but then she accidentally brings up the batshit crazy old woman just hassling people at the airport and compares her mom to her.
Yeah.
Like, come on, that's bad writing. Like, that's just bad writing. There's 100 ways to do that, and they picked the worst way.
Yeah.
Because doesn't she literally say whenever... Oh, go ahead, Joe.
She says crazy.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, whenever, Mom, I was at the airport and this disgusting old cretin came up and started babbling about that religion you like.
That religion you like.
That one religion.
That sad old religion.
Oh. Well, they don't actually... nobody's mentioned by their denomination, correct? Like,
no?
Is the word Christian even said once?
There's the part where... the I'm assuming he's Muslim because Joe said it.
Yes, his name's Hasid.
Yeah, he says we should pray, and then the little guy says, "To whose God?" Like, oh, just whatever, and like they just always beating around that bush.
Yeah,
because I don't know, they don't know who's right. Just something.
Yeah, so like again,
it turns out that the Mormon God is the right one.
This is some weird experiment. This is a weird experiment that just didn't pay off.
No, didn't make any money. It was released in October of 2014 when everyone's thinking about Halloween and getting candy. We're in the spooky season, and it's like, hey, here's this actionless action movie about the rapture with Nicolas Cage.
Well, it was $16 million. $16 million budget, 27.4 box office.
Oof.
So, I mean, I'm sure they advertised for it. So, I mean, maybe at best they broke even, but just doesn't seem worth
they had the
it.
Soundtrack. They had a video. Jordan Sparks, who we haven't talked about yet, got like 3rd or 4th billing for some reason, at least in the advertising materials.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Sorry to derail us again, but apparently some Paul... Who is this? Oh, the writer of this movie launched an Indiegogo asking for $500,000.
Yeah.
To make a sequel. It only landed on like $80,699. God damn, I made that harder to say.
Yeah, that's all the big Christian audience in this country. That's what they were able to cough up.
Well, they already had their movies. Fans of this book series already had their movies. You know what I mean? They already had the 3 movies with Kirk Cameron. It just seemed like this was a greedy thing to try and get non-religious people involved.
And the Left Behind fans are not concerned with a newer, slicker reboot, I would imagine.
No, this is
they are just fine busting out that VHS of Left Behind.
They had their Stephen King's It. They didn't need this newfangled one with a big budget and set in 1989. They're happy with the Tim Curry one. Mm-hmm. They didn't need the movie star one in the theater. And then it goes to the theater. Come on.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm sorry. This is such a weird rabbit hole. Okay, so obviously a sequel has not happened yet, but the grandson of the book's writer made a film called Vanished, Left Behind, Next Generation, which was intended to be a Twilight-like version of the book series to bring in the young ones. Oh my God, look at this trailer.
Has it been made?
Does it exist? Yeah, that's out. 2016 it came out. Okay, so but this Paul, the guy who wrote,
can we get a link in the Slenderman Club chat, please?
It's just on the Wikipedia, yeah, and it's all there. Okay. So, but anyways, the writer of this movie is still trying, and apparently, Chad Michael Murray in 2019 said that there's a script in the works for a sequel.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, they want a sequel because they get big action beats. I mean, they're the stars. They get to go on. The next movies would have been exciting for them to do much more than this because it involves the Antichrist coming in and a war, and it would have been more fun probably.
Oh boy! Oh, I'm watching this trailer for the Next Generation. Oof! I'm loving this. Okay, sorry. Where we at,
what if
Joe?
it's like the Left Behind babies? Like it's all the babies that got left behind, but like the Muppet babies?
It kind of is.
Well, we'll get to that too. I got a lot of questions about the whole who's allowed to go up, no questions asked, and who's not.
Yeah, is it all babies? Is it all kids? Is there a certain point?
We'll talk about it. Is it unborn baby? We'll talk about it.
Oh Christ! I didn't even think
I've
about
got
that.
a whole thing.
Ooh.
Well, we get the snap happens in my section here. That's all I can think
It's
of.
hard
My
not to
only
make
frame
those
of
parallels.
reference. It's
Oh
the
yeah,
only-
it really is hard to watch this and not think about.
It's
Thanos.
like, damn, remember when the fucking funny pages did this better? Dang.
Yeah. They did
What
it
do we
right.
got? Joe, where we at?
Irene says she only wants what's best for her daughter, and that God brought her back home. But Chloe retorts that she paid for the ticket. She decides that she's not going to do this right now.
She's kind of a jerk and doesn't really think about anyone but herself. Maybe, hey, there's our answer.
That's how they see us. That's
Not
how
very
they see
Christian.
us.
of
Oh
herself.
yeah, absolutely.
We're all pieces of shit.
Yeah.
From one stripe or another.
Science.
Yeah.
Science got you there. Okay.
So she decides that she's not doing this right now and leaves just as soon as she got there. The little person is struggling to put his carry-on in the
His name's
overhead.
Martin.
So the
No, Marvin. Hold on.
Melvin.
Melvin Weir. Melvin.
Yeah.
Better than just constantly referring to him as a little
His
person.
real name's Martin, ain't it?
Martin Kleba. Yeah, you know
Yeah.
that you've seen him in that Pirates of the Caribbean is probably his biggest thing, but he's got a lot of credits.
Scrubs.
He's done a lot of work.
I was gonna say also from Scrubs. He and Hattie are both from Scrubs.
What does Hattie do in Scrubs?
Hattie is one of the other residents that just kind of pops in from him now and then.
Oh.
I think she's referred to as the hot nurse at one point,
Okay.
or hot resident.
Oh, yeah.
She has an Australian accent.
Oh,
It's her real.
okay.
It's her real
Interesting.
accent in Scrubs.
Because I don't think I'd seen her in anything else. I wasn't
Yeah,
familiar
she's
with
in. She's in a lot of stuff like this.
it. Yeah.
But she used to
For
be
her.
have a bit part on Scrubs for about 9 years.
Wow.
So the Middle Eastern man offers to help him, but he snaps
Hasid?
back that he doesn't need any help. I guess, yes. I got to pull up the IMDb, I guess, or the character names.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
yeah.
Nick. I don't know names in this.
Hasid is the
Hasid's
guy
his
who
name? Oh, okay.
offers. He offers help to. God, I'm the one that's about
Martin.
names, and I
We'll just call him
fucking
Martin.
Melvin. Yeah, Melvin, because the
Yeah.
actor's name is so close. That's
Yeah.
Melvin. So Melvin
Either
is
one is fine.
Melvin. He's a little person, and he's got a big carry-on, and he attempts to put it in the overhead. And Hasid immediately sees it and assumes he might need some help, and just being friendly says, "I'll give you a hand." And Melvin initially, immediately snaps at him. "I don't need help." Blah, 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 blah. Very rude, but you can kind of maybe understand. Maybe he's got a lot of that in his life. He's taken, he's got a chip on his
Yeah.
shoulder. I didn't totally dismiss
Well,
him
he's,
because of that. But
He's
then
not
he
able to
can't.
put
He
the
can't
luggage up
indeed.
there. That's not possible, yeah.
No, he does indeed not able to put it up there. So
So he ends up making faces at the little girl sitting across from him. She says that her dad plays ball for the Jets, and she accidentally lets it slip that he just hurt his arm and might not play. Melvin writes it down to try to make some money gambling when he gets off the plane.
yeah,
Yep.
this is a weird little bit because he shows again that he's got a chip on his shoulder. He assumes because the little girl looked at him, and he starts saying, "What do you want? Do you wonder where I buy my clothes? Do you wonder how I use the urinal?"
Yeah.
You don't. And she's like, "What the fuck's a urinal?"
Yeah, what's
And,
a urinal?
And that's when she starts talking about, her father's a football player, and he recognizes who that is. Melvin does, and starts writing it down. So we know, okay, he's a bit of a gambler.
Yeah.
Well, that's not enough. You have to have the guy next to him say, gambler.
Gambling man, huh?
And I don't know who that actor is. I didn't look him up, but he's in quite a few Coen Brothers movies. I recognized his face.
Oh, really?
No.
Like he pops up in a couple other movies.
Yeah, that's my section. I mean, I got nothing else.
Is that? Oh, I guess that is it. So I'm next then. So there's like a weird a quarter of a scene that Joe left out, but it's basically just we cut back from the plane to Chloe and Raimi. They're leaving Mrs. McFly's house. They get into the car and Raimi says, "Oh, I heard, can we go to the mall? I hear there's an 80% off sale at GameStop." No, there is
Dreaming,
not.
kid.
Yeah, that's either not a real thing or you're getting another copy of Madden 09 or something like something nobody wants. So they pull away and Irene looks at them very wistfully. I don't know. She looks at him. It's dramatic. They arrive at the mall, and Raimi, or they're driving to the mall, and Raimi asks, "Is Mom crazy? Dad says Pastor Bruce is washing her brain." Which, how old do you guys think Raimi is in this movie?
9, 10?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
That's kind of what I thought. I feel like a 10-year-old. You're not gonna. If a 5-year-old did this brainwashing bit, I could understand it. I feel like a 10-year-old knows what he means by that, but maybe I'm just splitting hairs here. I was bored already at this point in the movie. She kind of just swats it away, like, "Oh no, it's fine. It's just a joke." But he says, "Well, I don't understand what it means." She said, "Yeah, I don't either." They just keep driving. Then we get a shot of them driving away, and it holds on construction work. Or it holds on like construction signs, and I thought I should have been looking for something. I don't know if is that where she ends up at the end of the movie?
I think so, because remember at the end she says the new East-West Highway by the mall.
Okay, that could be it.
Okay, I thought so. It was strange. Then we go back to the to the sky, to the plane, and co-pilot says, "Man, this much suck having a fly on your birthday, huh? How long is Chloe in town?" But Nick Cage just is kind of ignores him, brushes off like, "All right, yeah, smooth sailing. I'm gonna go check on the crew." So he puts his hat on and he walks out, and we see we cut back to Coach, excuse me, or Economy or whatever, and we see is her name Lizzie, the other flight attendant?
Kimmy.
No,
Kimmy, yes,
Kimmy, yeah.
We see Kimmy, and she's like doing the drink and snack service, handing out sodas and little bags of chips to everybody. But then we cut back to the mall for some reason. Like, is Nick Cage going to go check on them? Is that going to be later? Okay. So now we're back at the mall, and we're inside the mall, and there's a crowd formed around a bunch of break dancers. And they're spinning, and they're sliding on their foreheads, and everybody's having a great time.
I like this.
Yes, this was pretty cool.
The most unenthusiastic clapping I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow. There's a little girl there who's obviously just forced to be there for the movie, and she's not having it.
And what's with the music? It's literally just a drum. It's just like boom.
At this point in the movie, did anybody start focusing on the extras rather than the actual plot?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, there's some weird shit going on.
Not at this point, but I did earlier in my section when Chloe and Buck were having their conversation. There was a kid at the table right behind.
Behind him?
He wasn't doing anything. He was just like frozen.
He kept like scratching his eye and then like opening his book to the same page over and over again.
Yeah, and he didn't know what to do. He was so fucking confused. The extra had no idea what to do.
He was constantly moving, so you couldn't help but notice him. He was always moving.
Yeah, I'm glad you saw that too.
So yeah, they're all watching these break dancers, and we see Chloe's there, and she's like standing there bopping and clapping, very, "Hey, look at us, we're in a movie." But then she realizes that Raimi isn't around her. She's looking around. I'm like, how the fuck did you lose this kid already? She realizes that he's gone. She starts to look for him, and we see that he's wandered off and is just staring at a drone that's just floating. And there's not like a kiosk around. There's not like, he's not outside of a fucking Radio Shack. There's just a drone floating in the middle.
It's like a big like drone too. It's not like one of those little ones.
It's huge.
You get a shot of like a guy's hands holding a controller like on the edge of frame.
Yes, so
for like a second.
Yeah, so that's what's so weird. So we see him looking at this drone, and Chloe runs up, finds him, and says, "Oh my god, you scared me to death." And then the drone flies away. Yeah, and then we, like Tyler said, we get this shot of these hands, and it was very ominous. I thought for sure Drone Man was going to come back.
Oh, I thought it was like it's a Predator type deal. Like,
yes, I thought there was going to be
something off about that. But honestly, you know what it is? It's probably just bad
come
filmmaking.
Here, little boy, look at my drone. Oh, I can fly it up and down. You want to look?
Yeah, luckily none of that sloppy nonsense happened, but it's just poor filmmaking.
Tyler, you were referencing the fucking movie Predator, the famous alien, and where does Joe go? There you go. Just a little man with no brain right there in Malevolent.
Some kind of sex pest.
Well, you were, because the Predator alien doesn't fucking talk. So you were talking. So you weren't referencing the alien.
I thought he was referring to an actual predator. That was my mistake. I'm sorry.
I'm not I was talking about a child predator. I don't know where Ryan's coming from.
Yeah,
but,
see?
Oh, I thought you were.
See?
Well, that's where my brain is. When anyone says predator, I think of the alien.
I like Ryan busting your balls, so I'm not going to correct him one bit.
I thought it was going to be like,
no man.
Slice. You guys say predator, I think of fucking Arnold and aliens.
Yeah. I was there when Arnold was slathered in mud.
Shit, dude, I remember when that movie came out. I was too young to see in the theater when my dad, my grandpa, my uncle went and saw it, and they told me all about it. And I couldn't wait to see it. And then Encore premiered in summer 91, and they played the shit out of that, along with Private Benjamin, Chariots of Fire, and Wolfen.
There you go.
There's your history.
Yeah.
I could give it to you.
Well, now that we all know we got our history.
RMZ gonna give it to you.
Oh boy, here we go. All right.
You're gonna get rimsed.
Bring out the rims. Oh boy, Jesus! There's a drone. Yeah. Oh, Raimi asks, "Oh, can I have one? Can I have one, please? It's only a few $100." That one's for all the grandparents. Also, I think we've tiptoed around this. This is an action movie for grandparents, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't an action movie for us.
Yeah, like it wasn't an action movie for whatever we are, parents, I guess, for Sean. But like, this is just—it's so slow and it's so tame, and there's some action, sure, but nothing that's gonna get you too flustered.
I think
nothing
just the concept of a slow plane descent that could end in disaster is the equivalent of, like you said, like an action movie for the 65 and older crowd.
Yes,
this is just like Speed.
Yeah,
well,
sure.
Die Hard 2 had too many naughty words and too many icicles in the eyeball and too many squibs, but you liked the peril on an airplane and you wanted something new. Instead of the airport movies, you watched Left Behind.
Mm-hmm. There you wanted to watch snakes on a plane, but don't like snakes.
I bet Nana Buckley was sweating right through her petticoat watching this movie.
I don't think she's watched the movie in 15 years. She did not like Butcher the Bakers whenever she saw it. There's far too much cussing in it.
Well, sure. Whatever. Deal with it, Nana Buckley.
Yeah.
So back in the air, Nick and the flight attendant are in the crew's quarters or the mess hall. I don't know. They're in the back by all the microwaves and shit. And he closes the little partition, which is just like a curtain, and tells her, "I got him." He pulls out the U2 tickets, and she is excited to see U2 in 2014. She says, "I am going to find a way to pay you back." And he looks at the tickets kind of like and ruffles his brow like Nick Cage does. And she's like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And all he says is, "Oh, I thought the seats would be closer to the stage." And then she makes him a coffee, and that scene's over. Like, the fuck are we doing here, guys? Then we go back to the mall, and we see B-roll of a bunch of families at the food court. Just doing family shit. Kids are eating, slopping shit on their pants. I don't know. Raimi and Chloe are on the escalator, and he says, "It'll be okay, or it'll be okay, or she'll be okay, Mom. She still wears that necklace you made her." Chloe reassures Raimi that things between their parents will be all right, and he asks if Dad told her about his game. And she says, "Oh, it's all we talked about, and you're the best baseball player in the whole world." And they hug. And then it happens.
That's the reason she wasn't raptures, because she was
lying to her boy. That's right. Then it finally happens, the main event, and it is kind of effective. I feel like watching this now, like we alluded to, you can't not think of Infinity War when this happens. Yeah. You can't not think of the snap. It's the same fucking thing.
People just are gone. Boom.
They're just gone. And that in and of itself, and even in this movie, parts of it are effective. I feel like someone could make a decent Left Behind movie. I think it's possible.
And for what the editing of this movie becomes, it's fairly subtle when it hits.
Yeah, so it's the same shot. Like they're locked. There must be on a tripod or something, and they just cut. There's a flash of white real quick to hide like a jump cut, and then as soon as we cut back, she's holding his clothes, But what I really liked was that there was a ton of other people in the background that also vanished. That was really cool. I really appreciated that. That was probably the only thing I liked in this movie, genuinely.
I will say, as somebody who had no idea what was going on and was only half paying attention to all the boring shit that was happening at the airport and the mall beforehand, all of a sudden the quote unquote snap happened. I was like, oh shit. And then I became engaged in the film because only half paying attention.
Know it was a part of the MCU.
Exactly. No, but like, I was like, oh my God.
America's going to show up. I just know it.
I'm like, something just happened. Nothing has happened in this entire movie. And something huge just happened. And it like legitimately, it was effective and it sucked me in because I had no idea what was going on. So
honestly, what they should have done is they should have not called it Left Behind. They should have changed the name.
Yeah. I think that, and also I think, I don't know when it would be. I think we need to, and not jump back and forth. I think we need to see everything with Chloe and Raimi and her on the ground stuff all the way up until, you know, she finally reconnects with the guys in the sky. And then you go back and you see all the plane shit, because then it builds up. You're seeing her deal with,
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, the snap on Earth, on the ground. And then, but the whole time, you know, oh shit, Nick Cage and Chad Michael Murray are in the sky. We haven't seen them. How the fuck? What is going to happen when you're in a plane and this happens? And so you build it up, and then you go, you know, 6 hours earlier or whatever, and then you see, oh, everybody's getting on the plane, and then they do, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then it's because then you have some suspense. It's something interesting's happening, and even if you have a couple scenes in the plane that maybe are pointless, there's this underlying current of, oh shit, it's going to happen sometime. It's got to. Yeah. What's that going to be?
It's going to happen right as soon as she picks up the coffee pot, and then she's got to disappear, and the coffee's going to hit the ground.
We insert Joe into that shot, the wide master shot of everybody disappearing initially, and Joe does disappear, but along with his clothes falls just this biggest fucking butt plug.
Mm-hmm. But I was a good little Christian.
Plug and I'm happy.
Yeah. I was a good little Christian. I prayed for forgiveness as I was inserting.
I thought you were going to say he disappears and then he comes back naked. In the same spot.
Yeah, God didn't want me. I got in on a technicality.
Well, it was a clerical error.
Technically, I was a big baby.
Yeah,
technically, I was a giant infant.
He just wanted your Butcher the Baker's t-shirt.
Yeah, he's a big fan. No,
so he bring you all the way up. There's there, and then
there's some angel up there going, I swear to you, I thought he was a kid. He looks like a kid. Look at him.
I was only going by what I heard him saying.
Oh, I love
and what he was eating.
He seems so innocent.
I want the dinosaur-shaped nuggets.
Anyway. And then maybe once he gets back, he picks the butt plug up and puts it back in. Oh, boy.
I saw the dinosaur nuggets. I saw the Tykables.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would have loved if instead of like the rapture, this film was about the crapture, where every single Christian on earth just shits their pants, like at the same second, like confirming their faith. Like everybody's got poopy boxers.
Yeah, everybody poops their pampers all at once.
The crapture.
Yeah.
He got me for a second. Anyway, back in the sky, the plane shakes. Oh no! This shake wakes up American Idol winner Jordan Sparks, and we see that, and she notices that. Oh no, her daughter is missing. Where is she? Then we go immediately back to the mall. Oh, and this is classic Malevolent movies. Over editing, cutting back and forth
through the rest of the movie until they get together. It's constant.
Whole fucking thing. Yep. Where am I? They go back.
Yeah, because people get, as Trevor's going to let you know, people get real hot real fast.
Oh yeah,
things get ridiculous, and it's it's so out of what I think.
Yeah,
would go on.
It's weird in this scenario. In this scenario at a mall, I don't know. I don't believe it. On the plane, we can discuss that here in a minute. Jordan Sparks' daughter is missing. Oh no. Back at the mall, clothes are just like raining down from the balconies in the mall.
Yeah, everybody doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, like was somebody like trying to jump over the whatever?
They had the big balloon ride that day.
Yes.
The children's big balloon ride.
This is the Mall of America, and they were on that roller coaster. They were on that Nicktoons roller coaster that's there.
It's kind of like the War of the Worlds, Tom Cruise one, where they're getting zapped and they're turning to powder, but their like clothes like end up flying, and they're it's more like that, but not being zapped by the tripod. Yeah,
the weird thing. The people, so people are just freaking out. We get a couple shots of people just running around like a bunch of idiots at the mall. Back up on the plane, they're also freaking out. Muslim guy is praying. What's his name? Hasid. Yeah, Hasid is praying, and the guy next to Martin, who was like, "Are you a betting man?" Apparently he was an air marshal because he had a Martin looks over his big wrinkly suit that's all empty now, and there's a gun and like a badge in there. Cage goes back to the cockpit, and we find out that his co-pilot is also gone. He takes the controls of the plane and starts to kind of push it back on the course, steer it. That's the word I was looking for. Back in the mall, Chloe is still looking for, she's just like looking for Raimi still, even though he disappeared in her arms. There's a lot of that going on that like, I can't say that I wouldn't react like that because I've never been in a rapture or a snap scenario. But I feel like I wouldn't do that. I feel like I would see like, oh yeah, they disappeared. They're not here. I don't know. It's dumb. This movie sucks. She's looking at his clothes when a car like goes through one of the main doors in the mall and almost hits her. She does this cool like Matrix style dodge, or I thought it was at least. There's a couple of those. She got some action sequences here. Oof. Where she dives out of the way of things.
People are looting and like.
Yeah, and she goes back to Raimi's bag, just looking through it. Maybe he's in the bag. I don't know. She takes a bag.
He just shrunk.
Yeah,
well, she should check the clothes before she checks the bag. He shrunk. That's right. In the shoe.
That's right. She takes the bag and she leaves. And then on the plane again, there's more people freaking out. Nick Cage continues to try to steer the plane back on course. Back at the mall, people are started looting. She Chloe like runs past a TV set up in the mall. I don't know. That has news on it, and there's footage of this is happening elsewhere. Like this is a bigger scenario. This isn't just centered on the mall. And then back up in the plane again, Chad Michael Murray starts filming people on the plane, and he's just like filming everything, piles of clothes, the people freaking out.
I'm a documentarian, damn it.
I mean, yeah, basically he's being like Joe whenever we go to an event for one of the movies. He's just always filming all the time. Gotta get that footage. And this is when a rowdy group of boys from the plane gets real hot under the collar, and they go up to the cockpit to get some answers. Like this fucking pilot is gonna know why everyone just disappeared. Like this is another thing that like this is one of the stupider things in the movie, but is also one of the most like realistic things in the movie, in my opinion. So they're like trying to pound on the door, trying to get into the flight deck, and Cage flips a switch. Oh, he like he flips a switch, and that apparently like depressurizes the plane like a little bit, enough to like make the oxygen masks come down.
I thought this was a bold move.
Yeah, this was some slick shit, and as far as we can tell, I don't think it ever really comes back to bite in the ass.
No, but he's smart enough to know that these guys, and when I say these guys, and this is something maybe we can touch on. I don't know if it's a class warfare kind of thing, but we seem to only care about the people in first class. All the people, there's a whole like 40 or 50 people. The only time we ever cut to them is if we need somebody to act really over the top and angry and stupid. It's like this movie only gives a shit about the rich people and their problems in first class. It's like there's this whole other movie that could be going on back there, and their troubles and their dialogue and their conflicts, but we never really. Those are the people that just charge the cockpit.
Yeah,
and that was an interesting choice.
Yeah, there's not really any like major.
There wasn't enough room to
characters.
film back in Coach, Ryan.
Yeah, everything was so cramped.
Pretty tight back there.
Yeah, actually. And I don't think there's really many even characters or people that I recognize from Coach, except for two. Well,
the bearded
there's one
redneck guy.
I was gonna say there's like redneck Danny McBride.
Yeah.
And then there's another guy who is, I think he's actually the guy that leads the charge. He's like a skinny guy. I think he's like Mexican, maybe.
He's got some tattoos.
He is
one of the main gang members in the 21 Jump Street movie. He's one of the 1%ers. It's him and D. Ray Davis and a couple other, and well, spoiler alert, Johnny Depp and some makeup. But yeah, he's in that too, which was also out in 2014, I believe. So he had a weird year, I guess. But yeah, I recognized him. So there's a little cameo for you, for only for me, but I appreciated it. But yeah, so Cage flips that switch, depressurizes the plane, says, "All right, you guys got to get back in your seats." And they do. They go back to the seats. They put their masks on. We see there's a point made that Chad Michael Murray helps out the nice old lady get her mask on first, and then goes to sit down. He's being a good passenger. Good for him. He's a nice man, I guess. In the mall, back at the mall now, we see more looting as Chloe is trying to actually get out of the mall. There's like a 2-person dog pile in front of the door that looks like it's going to be an issue, but everybody just kind of walks around them. I don't know.
Well, and so and this is, you guys already touched on this. There are people everywhere. Everywhere. And this is after a certain amount of the population of Earth has disappeared. So it's like, I get what they wanted to do, and I almost understand you put it at a mall because you can still maybe push the idea that there's a lot of people there. This is way too many people. It's way too many. Yeah, and also, I feel like it would be more impactful if you had half as many and they're all fucking weeping and upset and confused, rather than just chaos. Yeah.
And maybe there's a couple, I mean, maybe there is still some looting, and maybe there is still some bad guys, for lack of a better phrase.
Sure.
And it's more intense because, hey, there's only 10 people in there and 4 of them are trying to like rob us, trying to kill. There's nobody around, this doesn't work for this like long of a time in a movie.
Yeah. Instead, you get one guy ripping money out of a purse, and then you get apparently a jewelry store owner who refuses to acknowledge the end of days, and he will defend that jewelry at all fucking costs.
Yeah, it's his right.
Yeah. They blast a guy with the shotgun, and then he looks, and he's dressed like Vince, or not Vince Vaughn.
Vince McMahon?
Who? What?
Vince McMahon?
Vincent Vega?
No, Vincent Vega. That's it, Sean.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to get.
I was saying, which Vince are we talking about?
He's like, it looks like he's going to a Halloween party dressed up as Vincent Vega from Pulp Fiction. That's what I was like, Vincent Vega. Nice. He's got the shotgun.
Yeah. Oh boy. Can you imagine?
Has Chloe been robbed at this point yet?
No.
It should be.
No, that's later.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it's after my section, I think, though.
Okay, good.
Christ, what else happens in this fucking thing? Oh yeah, we back to the plane. People are in their seats and they put their masks on. Great. Next scene, back at the mall. Chloe's in the parking lot and we see people fighting over items and just general mayhem. There's a lot of this shit where like nothing really happens. Chloe gets like a little bit farther in her quest to get to the car. People are stealing TVs. They're stealing shoes, clothes, yada yada yada. This is when she gets to the actual parking lot though, and so now everybody's also in their cars trying to get home very quickly, and we get this like redneck dude in this big shitty truck revving his engine, and the lady in front of him is just like screaming at him, "Please stop!" And like there's nobody in front of her, there's nobody preventing her from driving. And he's just like smashing, like just bumping into the back of her car over and over again. It doesn't make any, he could just pull around her. It's stupid mayhem for no reason. Back on the plane again, the pressure has been stabilized and they all take off their masks. Cage tries to reach for like a, what am I trying to do?
Control tower dispatch.
Control tower. Thank you. Yes. Trying to reach somebody saying, hey, we're missing a bunch of people, my co-pilot's gone. Are you guys okay? But he can't get a signal. He can't get anything from anybody. He exits the cockpit to talk to Hattie, who's like freaking out. And he says, everyone is scared. I need you to step up. Can you? And she nods, which is like a very rough thing to say. I feel like I get it. It's a situation. It's Sky Law, whatever, but still. He's like, I'm going to go talk to the passengers, and sends Hattie to go watch the flight deck. And she goes inside, and that's it. There's a lot of weird editing where, like, I feel like the door opens, she sees, I assume, the co-pilot stuff, but we don't see it again. We don't see what she sees. I think I'm overthinking this bad movie. It's weird. The editing is weird in this movie.
Yeah.
He goes to talk to the passengers to let them know that they can take their masks off. The pressure's back, whatever. We're all good. But you got to stay in your seats. Stay in your seats, but you can take your masks off. He doesn't know what is happening, but he wants to find out just like they do. And all he can do right now is keep them safe. And then some guy jumps up and says, safe from what? And Cage just looks at him and says, sit down, very forcefully, like a dad who's angry. And he does. He sits down.
You better stop touching her, or I'm turning this car around, mister.
No, that's not what he says. He says, safe from our own panic, which is the biggest threat to this plane right now. He asked the flight attendants to do a head count, check the manifest, see exactly who is missing. He also tells them that as soon as he hears from someone else, he will find out if more places have been affected or if it is just the plane. The passengers aren't happy, though. That's it? So the 21 Jump Street guy asks, like, there's any fucking other thing he could do? Like, this is another thing of, like, what do you want him to do? What do you want Nick Cage to do? He's a pilot.
There's so much irrational thinking in this movie, yes. And it's coming from the writer. It's coming directly from the writer because, and this is one of my biggest gripes of this movie. For 30 fucking minutes, we watch Chloe go on a journey to figure out where her fucking brother is when he disappeared in her fucking arms.
Yes.
They basically treat everybody like they've gone crazy. Like this concept is so big and so heavy, you can't comprehend it. And it's like, no, because guess what? We know what the rapture is now. Like, I know what that is. I'm not a Christian. I fucking know what the rapture is.
Yeah. Most
people know what it is. Like, you can't act like that's not going to be the first thing that goes through people's minds when there's just clothes laying there.
Yeah.
God damn I'll bet they turned invisible and stripped.
Sure.
I mean, that is somewhat posited.
And that's the only kind of like other theory that I understand why someone would jump to that conclusion. Back in the parking lot, Chloe reaches the car. Raimi, are you in? Like, is he in the car? No, he's not in the car. Your naked 10-year-old brother is not in the car. He's gone, okay? He got snapped. He's in the fucking Soul Stone with Doctor Strange and everybody else. Calm down. But as she's about to get into the car, a plane crashes like a little almost like a crop duster almost. Crashes into the lot and skids directly into the back of her car, and she does another big action move, slides over the trunk, narrowly avoids the plane. Car blows up, and that's my stuff. That's my part here. So, yikes. That was a lot. Who's next?
I think it's Sean.
Yeah. Sorry, but just cut out. Yeah. Okay. So the seaplane just crashed into the mall parking lot. That's what happened, right?
Yes.
And at this point, so we cut to the hot blonde flight attendant. She's going back to check on Coach, and that's when apparently she sees for the first time that her coworker, other flight attendant Kimmy, is gone. She's just a pile of clothes underneath the beverage cart. In Coach, she looks like Howie Mandel stayed out to morning in Little Monsters.
Hey, there we go.
Thank you. So at this point, she sees that, it affects her. She goes up to the cockpit, and Nicolas Cage, pilot, is there. And she's like, just hold me, Nick. And Nick's like, hey, we're trained for emergencies. And then Cage keeps busting out his cell phone. He's trying to call Marty McFly's mom and reach her because this is some heavy shit that's going on. I mean, like, people have just disappeared. People are closed. He doesn't have a co-pilot anymore. And at this point, what's her face? Chloe is still on her adventure, right? She's just looking lost in the parking lot after this plane just randomly crashed in there. And we cut back to the plane where Handsome Dan, aka Chad Michael Murray, he busts out, yeah. He busts out his camera and he's just filming all this chaos because that's what he does. He's a journalist. That's what he does. And he says something impossible took place on this plane. Well, it's not impossible because it happened, but he's filming it anyway. So now he's getting his camera off, going right in their face, and he starts doing his impromptu interviews, like, goddamn Geraldo, right in their fucking face on the plane. And he goes back to coach, and there's a very hysterical, overacting woman, and she's clutching a stuffed animal. And apparently she lost a child, and she's very upset because she lost a child, and she doesn't know what happened to her child because her child was just there. And he's filming this tragedy right in her face because this is what he does. Once again, we cut to the U.S. Marshal, just the pile of clothes badge, which they showed that shot so many times. I don't know why. Yes, we established the Marshal. And he's
the gun.
Well, yeah, we find. So filming everything. And then we cut back to Clay and just running. And then moped that is being driven by two different people, some random ass moped, perch snatcher, which is Ramy's bag, her 10-year-old. She's just walking, minding her own business, stream on the bridge, and this moped comes up and just grabs her bag.
It's just more chaos.
They didn't have a budget for a motorcycle.
Well, they do eventually, but just this slow, tiny little beep beep just comes by and just slowly grabs the bag and just what?
She practically hands them
like
the
if
bag.
they were played for laughs.
There's two people on this moped, and that does not seem safe. I just at this point I'm just like, okay, this can't get any more ridiculous, and then it does because there's a huge, loud school bus is falling off the bridge right in front of where she just got her bag snatched by the moped that potentially full of children into the creek.
Sean's gone into the multiverse
until he comes back. That's an important thing that we're going to learn later is, as the audience, we're like, oh, it's a school bus. Oh no. But the school bus is completely empty, and we'll find out.
Oh, God damn it.
All of our friends are going into the internet.
Oh, no.
Sean and Ryan have been raptured.
They got snapped, boys.
But to piggyback off of what Ryan was saying, so Chloe was like under an overpass. It looks like a 2-lane highway of some kind. Mm-hmm. And she gets the purse snatch. She walks out from underneath it. We see the sunlight hit her face, and boom, like Sean said, the bus is it's perpendicular to the side of the bridge, and it just goes over it. Somehow it just it like ramped it and goes over it. It doesn't push concrete over. It's already over the edge of it. So I guess the idea is that, like, sure, I guess it could have started 3 miles back, but are people being raptured like over time? Or
it's a great question.
Because, like, there's no way that bus would have made that trajectory over 20 minutes or 25 minutes.
Ghost riding for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at that. I mean, like, the timeline doesn't make any sense for that. Like, okay, maybe this boat just had this bus had the luckiest ghost ride of all time. But, it's kind of like the opening of, was it Bird Box? The chaos,
yes,
and people can't drive. Like, I was equating it to that a little bit.
Okay,
so I was okay with that. I was okay with that. The bus thing. What I was not okay with, the fact that it was actually a physical bus that threw off the bridge that crashed into this creek, and then you cut to the juxtaposition of a shitty CGI plane.
Yeah. It really stuck out. The plane really sticks out when you put it next to like the real.
That is fair. That's very fair.
That was too much for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, we know what happened with the bus. It's now in the creek. What's happening? I don't know, because we cut to the plane, like you said. And this is where Buck Williams, journalist extraordinaire, is getting all the hard-hitting news, and he's interviewing. And now he's up in first class, and I didn't get this character's name.
Venice.
She's Denise. Okay.
Venice with British. A V. It's weird.
Venice is blonde. She is wearing these big black sunglasses on the plane, and she's very manic. She's just overacting, and she's just crazy. And she's like, I know what's going on. And he's like, what's going on? She's like, I don't know. I got to get out of here. And then she does what anybody would do when the rapture has happened and you're freaking out. She goes to the airplane bathroom and does lines of coke. And she's just like,
calm down her nerves a little bit, you know.
Yeah. And then
really
she's looking at herself.
out.
She's looking at herself in the bathroom loo, and she's like, it's just a bad trip. It's just a bad trip. Bad trips end. So she's doing coke in the bathroom. She's establishing that she's already done psychedelics. So not only does she do coke and psychedelics, she's also a heroin junkie.
Everything you got.
She rides hard, man. She fucking parties. She parties. That's why she didn't go up, you know.
Well, obviously. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Everybody who's still on this plane has their vice.
Yeah.
And we're starting to learn this. And Buck Williams is still interviewing her, and she realized he's like, oh, she's got her own shit going on a little bit. So then he gently touches her, and he pulls her sleeve over the track marks on her arm and gently touches her shoulder. And, you know, it's going to be okay, basically. And then we go, boom, cut right back to the smashed school bus in the goddamn creek. And we get a shot of a cracked windshield and a baseball mitt in the front of the bus, but there's nobody in it. And Rami, you know, is not in there. No, he did not get, magically teleported from her arms at the mall to this random school bus.
The magic school bus.
But just in case,
she had to check. So then there's nobody in the bus. The kids are raptured or gone or whatever. So we cut back to the plane. And I point this out because nobody's brought this up yet. One of my favorite characters in this film, bar none, is the elderly woman. I don't know if she has any lines, but she was goddamn pleasant. And you could tell she was having the time of her life filming this movie.
Yeah. Well, she gets a good line at the very end. She had a decent
amount of screen time.
Yeah.
So she's on there. The druggy lady, she's still freaking out. And, you know, she said she knew what happened, but she's high on coke now. And now Buck Williams is like, well, you said you knew what happened. Obviously, you're high on drugs. What did you know what happened? Because obviously it's going to make sense coming from you. You're high as a kite right now. So she's like, I know this. But she's like, you know what? Settle down. And he gently puts her earbuds in her own ears. And she's like, relax. Because that's not creepy or anything. Ah, Jesus Christ. It's still going. Okay. So then we get to Melvin, the little person, and he's getting smart ass. And he I missed something here. He says, get that thing out of my face. What's he getting out of my face?
The camera. Buck.
Yeah. That's right. Okay.
Yeah. This is where Buck does, maybe you have this down, but this is where Buck does a very facetious, asshole-ish move, I thought. Maybe I'm reading into it, because when he puts the camera in Melvin's face and asks if he saw anything, and then Melvin's like, get that out of my face. He bends down like you would when you're going to talk down to a kid. He like does that parent thing, you know, where he kind of, scoots down with his hands on his knees, and he's like, look. And I was like, oh man, he's really fucking it up, giving Melvin the shit.
He was like 2 seconds. It was 2 seconds away from saying, hey, little buddy.
Yeah, he was. And it was, I thought that was intentional. And I was like, look at Buck.
What's going on, little man?
Buck's been a pretty chill dude and has been kind of straddling the line of being a leader. But in that moment, he was letting Melvin got to him, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to be a fucking asshole to this guy. I don't care.
Yeah. And then Melvin did have that good line. It was something along, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along the lines of, nope, looked all the same from down here.
Yeah. There's the witticisms of Buck. They should have a show together. They should do a show.
Melvin.
Yeah. Buck and Melvin. It's them just wandering the wasteland together.
Maybe that's a sequel.
I don't think. So obviously that interview is going to shit. So we cut to Chloe, and now she's on the phone, and she is frantically leaving a voicemail to her mother, and she's kind of like randomly running around, and she's just like, I need to hear your voice. I just need to hear your voice and know you're okay. And she can't get through to her mom. And at this point, we cut back to the plane, and Hasim, he steps up in first class, and he has his moment. He's like, look, I think everyone just needs to pray right now. We just need to join together in prayer. And that's when Melvin still ornery, still upset, being condescended to by Buck. He's like, "What? To pray to who? To who's God?" And there's a little bit of a confrontation there. Yeah. And we cut to the cockpit, and then we realize that I don't know if this had been established at this point. Nicolas Cage has made the decision to turn the plane around. They're not going to London anymore. They're going back to JFK. They're 3 hours away from JFK in New York. So that's the plan now. Cut
I
to
assume
more
it was
chaos.
because of guilt and wanting to get back to see if his wife and family were there more than it was anything else.
Yeah,
absolutely makes sense. I just London's the longest way away, man. They weren't gonna make it there. There's no way.
They're probably gonna get there after midnight.
Yeah.
We cut to more chaos in the streets. It's just nonsense out there. It's like the beginning of Schneider's Dawn of the Dead. People still running around crazy, even though it's been an hour or two. She comes across an ambulance, and then she assumes that her brother, who disappeared in her arms at the mall, is possibly in that ambulance. Rammy. And the EMT's like, "What the fuck, lady? Get out of here. No, it's not your brother. Come on." No. At this point, we cut back to the plane. Nicolas Cage is also calling his wife. He's not getting a good reception. He's not getting an answer. And this is where Hattie, the flight attendant, she's like, "Look, it's really kind of hard to manifest and figure out who's missing and who, because everyone's fucking standing around and running around and being crazy. And look, I didn't do my job." So it's like, okay. And at this point, Nicolas Cage notices something on the old plane radio. What's it called? The
radar.
The sonar. The radar.
Yeah.
Radar. Yeah. Sure. Okay. And there's another plane in the flight path of Nicolas Cage's plane, and that's not good. So he gets on the radio. He's all official. You are approaching our flight pattern. If you could adjust your flight pattern, please. But the problem with this other plane, nobody's fucking flying this plane because the pilots were believers and they were raptured. So this plane is on a collision course with our heroes.
Oh no.
And Nicolas Cage goes to Hattie, "Prep the cabin now." But he doesn't get that intense because Cage is calm because he's phoning it in at this point.
Now, I don't mean to be pedantic about this, but from my understanding, most of the time after the plane's in the sky, isn't it generally like an autopilot? Like it's got its path, it's going to do its thing.
I think so, yeah.
So like, why did before somebody got raptured, they're like, "Fuck this shit, beep boop beep 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 boop," and then they just made all these planes go like head for the same direction in the sky? Because like,
maybe the belt flew off and it hit a button or something.
Because I just really struggled with it because it could have been anything. It didn't have to be another plane. Like a fucking satellite could have fell out of the sky and hit the wing or whatever.
It's
like
the International Space Station.
There's nobody flying it.
Yeah, God's sending it back to Earth.
Okay, sorry.
No,
you're
it's fun.
Absolutely right.
Hey, fellas, real quick. Ryan and Sean, thanks for picking this movie. This is a great episode.
You're welcome. Yeah.
This movie fucking sucks, but I'm having a great time doing this.
And there's some meat. There's still some good meat on the way.
Yeah,
there's some good,
I feel like there's
some stuff
enough
to talk about coming
here.
up. Yeah, there's still some juice in this grape.
Bad grape.
It ain't a raisin yet.
Not quite.
So somehow somebody fucked up in one of the towers. So these flights are on an absolute collision course together. Nobody's flying the other plane. Nicolas Cage is calm as a cucumber, knowing that him and all his passengers could all perish, and his lover on the side. So at this point, he says that he calls out to the other plane that he is going to climb up to 1,000 feet, 1,000 feet to avoid collision. I think he just said 1,000. I don't know why he did 1,000 feet. But that's what he did.
He's a company man. He's following protocol.
Yep.
He's a good pilot, Rayford Steele. We all know him.
Yeah, well, I know plenty of Rayfords. Oh yeah,
national hero.
So he pulls up and heroically just misses the other plane. But the other plane does clip Charlie 1581. I believe that was the name of the plane. Slightly. And that other plane goes down in flames slowly. This is where Nicolas Cage, Ray calls out, "Mayday, Mayday, Mayday, plane down, Mayday. We're going to need some help on the ground, Mayday." And he's calm as hell. Nobody's answering him because everybody's been raptured. So he's just kind of like talking, but he's a pro. So he's just doing his job. He's following standard pilot protocol. Yeah. And so that plane goes down. But there was some damage. We don't know what yet. That has not been established. And at this point, Melvin, while all this is going down, which I don't know how, when look, I was on a plane and there was an issue with landing the flight. So somehow it felt like, and I don't know how a better way to explain it, it felt like the pilot just like punched the brakes and then pulled the throttle up and like the nose went up. It seemed like maybe he was told he could land, and then once he got close, somebody else was landing and it was gonna be too close and be sketchy. So like, yeah, it was really crazy.
There was a naked man on the tarmac.
He wanted to try out a loop-de-loop.
Yeah, and but it was to the point where, like, if you've been on a roller coaster where your stomach drops, and then all of a sudden it dips up and everyone's like, like, do you get that plane panic? Yeah. Wait, there was that plane panic for like, 4 seconds there. My kid thought it was hilarious. He thought it was a ride.
Now, are you absolutely sure that he didn't get raptured? That the pilot wasn't raptured and they covered it up?
Well, the plane did land eventually, so somebody landed it. So
at least one pilot was okay.
Yeah, maybe the co-pilot.
But all I know is this, okay? I equate that situation that just happened to me 2 weeks ago to Nicolas Cage pulling up the throttle on this to avoid that other plane. And somehow, when that was happening, all right, Melvin, the little person, was able to go over to Hasid, the Muslim's bag, and start rooting through it calmly, like nothing was happening, like the plane wasn't just about to have a full-on head-on collision. So he's going through his bag, and you don't know what he's looking for. Like, I thought maybe he was looking for, what's the Muslim book? It's not the Bible.
Oh, the Quran?
The Quran. Yeah, that's what I assumed that he was looking for at this point, because we had all these religious undertones in here.
Oh, I figured it was a bomb. He was just looking for a bomb.
Yeah, that's why I
didn't. Could be that too.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
this is that kind of movie.
Well, it's the way Hasid reacts when he catches it. What he says.
Right. So Hasid catches him going through his bag and, grabs him. And then all of a sudden there's a really, really, really harsh cut. And when I say harsh, it goes to Chloe. And all of a sudden she is on the sidewalk and there is blown glass in front of her because there's been a shotgun blast blasting a looter from a jewelry store right in front of her walking path. And then, like we mentioned earlier, Vincent Vega, the dime store Vincent Vega pops out of the jewelry store, full on black suit, black tie, shitty Amish hair. It's the Vincent Vega thing. It's not even really entirely accurate. It looks like he's got that long Amish hair that's really dry, that has not been conditioned and shampooed in a long time.
Real
it's husky, like corn husk.
Yes.
You get the top of a. When you're whatever they call the silk, it looks like corn silk.
Yep.
Which is a dry, crappy thing. It's not like
and
good
he's
silk.
Got that shotgun.
Rough.
Yes.
His clothes and hair are saying quite a bit, more than the scene needs. It's overshadowing everything, including that hard cut and the glass and everything.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that I like. I don't really like to watch Christian movies because they do get me a little bit hot because I don't like the preachy nature of them. But one thing that I genuinely do enjoy generally do enjoy is that I assume most of the people who are not the lead actors, the lead name actors, because they spend every goddamn dime they have to get a couple names on this thing, everybody else is a volunteer. They went to the director's church. They won a competition. So these are people these are just regular people. They're not even extras in Hollywood. These are people who just want to be in a movie. And so whoever this was, the casting director or the director, just said, okay, so you're basically playing a guy who runs a jewelry store. Looting has started happening because of the rapture. And basically we hard cut to you. You've just shot a looter, and then you come out of the store, and obviously you own a jewelry store, so you have to look, like you've got yourself together. And he's like, I've got it. Don't worry about it. And he shows up in this fucking business suit, or like he just like it's like the suit he wore to his Nana's funeral 3 months ago. And he went into the hair salon, and he showed him something like Ryan recently. They didn't get it quite right, but he's like, I'm fucking going with it, dude. I look like a boss. And they were just like, well, fuck it. We don't have any money. We don't have a makeup person here on set. We just got to go with it. Because there's more people like that as the movie goes on. And
I feel like they would have told him to like tie his hair back, you know, like at least in a ponytail. But he's like, no. I just got this done. It's gonna be slow motion. I gotta have this waving in the wind, buddy.
Yeah. Waving in the wind.
So then they have this weird the jewelry store owner and Chloe have this weird silent interaction because it's all in slow-mo at this point. And he kind of looks at her and he cocks the shotgun at her and he just kind of like gives him a nod, like, get the hell out of here.
Sean, are you still there?
Yeah, I cut off again.
Yeah, you cut off. You were like, get out of here.
No, dude, my connection's dog shit right now.
It's okay.
No, did anybody else find the looter's mask distracting?
Yeah, because it has like he looks like an Urukai. He's got like a handprint on it.
And I all thought it was weird because there's not enough time has been passed for people to be doing this. I just feel that it's yes, in the last year and a half, we've seen that when shit gets weird, people act very selfishly and stuff. But I still feel that if all of a sudden tons of people just disappeared, any of this sort of stuff, it would take a while because everybody would be affected. And would be more interested in figuring out what the fuck happened than they would be necessarily robbing the place. I'm sure there would be some, but at this point, the guy went, he got a robbing outfit. He got an outfit for doing his robbing. You know, the mask.
He looks like he's ready for the purge.
Yeah, he painted his face.
Already? Like it happened so
You know what though?
quickly.
There's some good shit. Like there's some good shit in some stores. You could get a whole box of magic cards. You could get yourself a big TV. You get nacho cheese dip.
But I'm not talking. But it's just what has happened. It's not like there was a.
Maybe this guy's been sitting. Maybe this guy's been sitting in his apartment just waiting for something to happen.
This would be more meaningful if this was at a grocery store. Because, like, again, this is such a massive event. I fully believe that there are going to be people who will go looking for money, but it's like they went for money,
Eventually,
they went for jewelry, they went for purses. We don't see anybody going for essentials. Like, I feel like that's what most people would be doing right now. Not the guys that are like, well, I hope the dollar still has value in a week.
Well, it's like 2020 with, you know, toilet paper and everything that people said you couldn't get. That's what the first thing that people went to the store and freaked out about buying.
Yeah. But maybe he was worried he was running out of time, so he went for watches.
This guy showed up at the jewelry store looking like he came from the paintball field, and that's why I was confused for a second. I thought he got shot with a paintball gun, but no, he's just wearing a paintball outfit. So,
well, maybe we're looking at this all wrong. Maybe we just assume the guy with the suit is the owner. Maybe the guy with the funny face mask paint on is the owner.
Maybe.
And everybody loves that place because he's wacky and he's the funny boss.
Or no,
that was his employee.
It was closed.
He shit
Ryan.
on.
It was closed. He was at the paintball field, but he had to leave because he was worried about his store.
Yeah. have his boys disappeared, went up in dust at the paintball place.
And
you're gonna lock up
with the shotgun.
And then Business Bobby and the business boys were out robbing everywhere.
And the Vega twins were there. Yeah. And they fucking blew his ass away.
Oh,
God damn it. Mess. Okay. So that happens. And then there's another very, very hard cut to the plane because we're supposed to their bomb in the bag, and then all of a sudden cut to a shotgun going off on the ground, and then cut back to the plane. Was it a bomb? No, it was an electric toothbrush. And Hasim has a electric toothbrush, and Melvin. And no, that's not a car bomb. And then there's some slight racial profiling here with the whole cast and Hasim, assuming that he has bombs and knows how to make car bombs and blah, 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 blah. I'm getting burnt out. Where the fuck am I at?
Well, then this continues.
Oh. And then we see, then
Nick's
we see.
favorite character comes back.
Yes. The conspiracy theory alien guy is like, well, we don't know what's going on. Maybe this is from another planet. I don't know. Maybe. What's going on? So it could be aliens. Might as well be aliens. Who knows? It's aliens.
And I will want to say, since we talked about that guy, the alien guy, the actor's name is Han Soto.
Oh, very good.
I thought that was interesting. Han Solo, Vic Armstrong, the director, Harrison Ford stunt double.
Oh, yep. I didn't even think about
it. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah,
it's all coming together.
Movie. Yeah,
we got to kick this.
When Left Behind.
Yeah, we got to kick this into high gear.
We got to kick this into gear. I refuse to let Left Behind be our longest movie. Sickness House deserves that title, and we're 2 hours in, and we're only halfway through this movie.
I don't think we're going to do it.
How long we got left then?
We got like an hour and 15 minutes.
All right, I'm setting the timer.
We got some juiciness coming.
I'm setting the timer for 1 hour. If we're not doing Malevolent or whatever our ratings by then, we gotta do it. Yeah, we're out. That's it. Fuck it.
So it's my first part of 2. Okay. So we cut back to the plane. No, I'm sorry. We were just in the plane. We're cutting back. This is where the cutting just gets fucking insane. We're back to Chloe. She's still hunting for her brother. She's running down a random street, and she looks at there's a hobo's sign that says like something about the end times, and his clothes are there. And then she looks at a news broadcast, and we're out. I will say this though, quite progressive that they still had the hobo gentleman ascend into heaven. Because most of the time, I would assume that people would think that if you're homeless, it's your own fault and you've done something awful to deserve it. So I appreciated that. Okay, we're back on the plane. Hattie, the flight attendant, asked Chad Michael Murray to take a picture of the plane's wing with his camera for the captain. Back to Chloe. Chloe's now at a hospital, which is overrun with people. She can't get in, so she decides that her needs are more important than everyone else's and smashes her way in through a side door. We then get a 20-second shot of her slowly crawling over clearly fake glass. I don't understand why we needed this shot, but the trials and tribulations that Chloe will face.
This is just really dumb because why don't you just like squat down and just like waddle over the glass?
You
don't have to die hard through it.
Yeah.
I think that kind of glass, like that kind of safety glass, doesn't actually hurt if you like touch it. It's like made to be not sharp.
That could be, yeah.
It's rubber, but
Joe, we'll break some and have you crawl on it and lick it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think what Joe's saying is that there's glass out there that maybe is made.
It's tempered glass.
Knows.
I mean, it still doesn't feel good when you're putting your arms on it. But
Episode of The Man with No Brain. Joe wears a diaper filled with tempered broken glass for a day.
It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
No, not at all.
Okay, so we're back to Chad Michael Murray. He shows Nick the picture of the wing. Nick laments that they lost their spoiler, which means it will be harder for them to slow down when they land. And we're back down to Chloe. She's walking around a maternity ward, and we see, I don't know why she would be in the maternity ward, because like, it's not like that. It's a dead end. It's a fucking dead end. She chose to go in there. That's not where her brother would be. He wouldn't be in the fucking hospital to fucking begin with. So this just got me fucking hot. So much of this movie.
She would not have been able to get into the maternity ward because security is tight in those things.
Yeah, oh, sure. And the hospital's filled with people, like, because she's busting through crowds to get to where she wants to go. But so much of this movie is we want to have an impact. We want to do one thing. So we jump through all these hoops to get there. The reason why we have this moment is because we get to see all the empty little baby baskets. All the babies have been raptured, as would have been expected. And then she keeps walking forward. She's past the babies. There's like a couple little rooms there, not really rooms, but like they're partitioned off where their mothers would have been. And we see that there's some clothes in one bed, but there's like a half curtain closed here. What could that be? Boom, jump scare, like literal, like dumbass jump scare music, like gung gung gang. And a mourning woman comes out, makeup running. Ooh, and all the kids are gone, all of them across the globes. The babies, the children, they're all gone everywhere. Blah. And this is just freaking.
I was gonna
Chloe
take
out.
a toddler, but there's nobody left.
Yeah. It's just frustrating because, again, like Trevor said it at the beginning, I think he's like nothing happens in this movie, and nothing really does happen in this movie. Nobody changes, nobody grows. It's an hour and 45 minutes of people realizing that everybody might have gone to heaven, and then them landing a plane.
Yeah, like it's just a bunch of setup, really, is what it feels like.
Yeah,
and which it was. I mean, that's what it was set up, But since it is a standalone movie, it sucks that it's just nothing happens. And then this is a little thing I wanted to get into before we move on. That just I couldn't stop thinking about this concept of all the children going up. Okay, so just follow along with me. So all the kids are raptured. All right, they're all innocent. I don't think it's a stretch to believe that the writers of this movie and the writers of this novel also are of the belief that the unborn child is also alive. So in my mind, I'm thinking the second this rapture happened, fully pregnant women across the globe, some of which who are very pregnant, their stomachs are out. There's movement, what the fuck happened there?
There actually is a shot of a pregnant woman in the mall.
Okay, well,
no, she's just in the background. I'm not saying it's an ISO shot of her in particular to set something up. But there is a pregnant woman in the background.
So all I kept thinking is these women all around the globe, they're just watching TV or shopping or doing whatever else, and boom, it's gone. Like, I mean, seriously, like I sat there and it just smacked me in the face and I was like horrified. But like what the implications, the emotional implications of all of this from the women who are fully pregnant, if indeed the child that's in their stomach is gone instantly, and physiologically what that did to them, physically. I kept thinking about it as the first time I watched it, as the rest of the movie progressed. And I was like, that's fucking horrifying. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. That's what I was thinking. And then the fact that later on, we see a dog. And so none of the animals are going on,
yeah.
No, dogs are not innocent.
Fuck that. I'll stay on Earth then, man. I'll hang out with the animals.
This movie.
No, a dog spends 30 minutes out of every day licking its own balls. It is not going to heaven.
So do you.
Dog's balls.
Anyways, so this movie, it's trying to be general for general audiences, and yet it draws weird lines in the sand. Like the dog thing, that caught me off guard too. I did not like the shot of a dog sitting there by its owner's clothes, because what the fuck did this dog do wrong? So the pets of the world have, and the wild animals have to face Armageddon?
Animals don't have souls.
Okay, we're back on the plane. Nick explains to the audience, directly to the audience, that the plane's computer is malfunctioning. He asks Chad Michael Murray to check if there's fuel leaking out of the plane, and sure enough, the damaged wing is taking a piss. Chad is stopped by a hysterical woman who overhears, oh god damn you, Ryan. Chad is stopped by a hysterical woman who overhears Edwin, the nerd, the conspiracy theory nerd. He's talking about them losing fuel. Oh my gosh. And then in that moment, the fuel catches on fire and everyone panics. But due to some wonderful orchestral score and the power of Chad Michael Murray's vocal cords, everyone is calmed for a moment. We're back to Chloe. She's wandering the streets. That's it. We're back in the cockpit. Nick explains to Chad Michael Murray that the flaming spray is fine and the plane won't explode, but it's burning the fuel up faster. And so they've got to land. They've just got to land somewhere. So Nick pokes a cup to demonstrate that the fuel coming out of the bottom of the wing would be bad, but coming out of the back, it's going to take a little bit of time. Okay, we're back to Chloe. She's just walking through a neighborhood and she walks past a woman who's grieving on her front porch. We're back to Nick. Nick explains to Chad Michael Murray that they have already begun to descend. They then high five over both having satellite phones because journalists and pilots are awesome. Nick brings up the plane they collided with had no pilots. Oh boy. We're back to Chloe. She continues her walk through the neighborhood. We see her mother's house. Okay, so now we know what she's doing. She has a baseball bat. Oh no, she's protecting herself. Okay, back in the plane. Hasid asks Chad Michael Murray, Melvin, and Vanish if maybe whoever did this is still in the plane. Maybe they're invisible. We cut to a shot of Melvin while Hasid is saying this, like looking at Vanish like lecherously, like, hey, you want to join the Mile High Club? And then she like turns away from him. It's just fucking weird. Melvin is just like the gives her a shitty face
because that's the kind of guy he is. Oh, she didn't show him attention, and you suck then too.
Yeah,
fuck Melvin.
So Melvin goes back to his seat to see if the guy sitting next to him, that was raptured, the air marshal, is there, and he's like poking around and like touching the seat to see if there's like a body there, like an invisible body, like Hasid was saying, and then he gives him a wet willy, this invisible entity. So like. Fucking Melvin has no issue being funny when he's by himself, but he's just a dick to everybody else.
Melvin's awful. He's great, but he's awful. I mean, he gives us something to talk about, but he's just so horrible of a person and a character.
Okay, so Chloe, we're back to Chloe. She's walking through her mother's house with a bat. The music is tense. It's telling us that something could happen at any second, and then jump scare, the phone rings. She picks it up. It's an automated message from the security company that protects the house, and they're saying that the alarm went off, but they don't have anybody to come because shit's fucked. So Chloe continues to look for her mother. There's some Jesus stuff on the walls, and then we hear a running shower. And I just want to rant here for a little bit. This is bad filmmaking, all of this. The pretense is useless because we know the mother's been raptured. We already know this. We've made such a big deal about it. All the innocents, all the believers are gone. So it's either we're setting up that she could be attacked at any second, but the filmmakers don't have the balls to do this. They're not going to do it because they don't want to show that because, oh no, either it's going to get a PG-13 rating and they can't show it in churches, or it's going to upset people.
This is PG-13.
It is?
This is rated PG-13, but there's no swearing.
For what?
Man gets blasted.
Yeah, the guy getting shot. Maybe
Wow.
This is kind of barely PG-13 then.
Here's why
drugs.
The drugs.
Oh, that is
There
true.
is a lot
That's
of drugs.
true.
Nicolas Cage and early his flirtatious ways and
adultery is that's rated X.
Adult themes, probably.
At one point, he calls Marvin a cocksucker. So it's the version I saw.
Nick, you were going to launch into something. What did you have to say?
The reason why I made the mistake of giving the filmmakers some credit, because the mom being raptured was so obvious that I was hoping that she'd be just the whole walk up to that into the room, into the shower, just hoping, okay, so the mom is going to not be raptured. The mom's going to be there. She's going to be dead or something, something to throw it on its head. No, of course not. Why do anything other than what is expected? Gave him way too much credit. But yeah, I was hoping that they wouldn't be going this slow into the mom's shower for no reason.
Nope.
Disappointed.
Nope. Yeah, but I agree. Like if the mom hadn't been raptured, that would have been interesting.
Yeah, that could have led to some really cool stuff. But it could have made her go completely the other way now. Like she's hardcore atheist.
Yeah. Okay, so anyways, it's all fluff. It's bad filmmaking. We're back on the plane. Nick looks at a picture of his family. He then asks Hattie about Kimmy, the other flight attendant, who was raptured. He wants to look at her belongings, so he asks Hattie to go get them, and I'm out.
Nice.
I think that means I'm in.
Nick time.
Yeah. So she goes into the mom's bathroom, into the shower, and what do we see? The running shower, and there's some earrings and a necklace laying in the shower. So, oh no, mom's gone. Back on the plane, Cage starts rooting through his co-pilot shit. And he starts tossing the contents of the wallet like weirdly far away. Like he pulls out like $2 bills, chucks them behind him, pulls out the license, chucks it back.
What an ass.
I don't know what's going on there. He looks at his watch, and the watch says, very large, not discreet at all, John 3:16 right on the face of it.
Wait a minute. Wait. Did you guys see his Visa card he threw out?
It was old.
Well, it looked like it was laminated paper.
Yes, it's just like the Visa logo.
They printed out, cut it out a piece of paper.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Sorry.
Well, you know what? Christians don't borrow. If they can't afford it.
That's right. They pay cash only.
Look.
So yeah, his Visa card was fake.
As a shitty low budget prop master, I know one when I see one. When someone cheaps the fuck out, I can tell because I'm that guy. Okay, so he finally puts together what was incredibly obvious for all of us, but he'll save that for another scene. So back home where we just were, Chloe finds mom's phone and hears a voicemail from her dad on the plane in peril, and just assumes that dad is dead. Does she try calling? No, she's just like, oh fuck. Moving on. Opens her mom's Bible and sees a list of names with hers at the top. Assume that she's praying for these people. It says like Jim at work or something. I don't know. She's just like, oh yeah, I guess I gotta pray for these people.
Uncle Frumpo.
Yeah,
Uncle Frumpo, Joe. Yep, right there.
I like Uncle
That was one of the names. I saw it.
It's one of the books in the Bible.
Uncle Frumpo, Matthew, Mark, John, Luke, Paul, Frumpo.
Yeah.
He begat Uncle Soup. Uncle Soup begat
Uncle Soup begat Frumpo.
Uncle Stinky. Yeah.
Frumpo begat Judeldine. It's all right there in the book. Right in the good book. It's the scripture.
Judeldine begat Joe Buckley.
Joseph.
A lot of
Joe Buckley begat just a stinky garbage can.
Yeah. Joseph, son of Bob.
I'll clean it one day.
Joseph, son of Joe Bob. Yeah.
Well, she sees her name in the Bible and just throws that shit right through a window.
It's a hell of a Bible.
She's having a lot of. I mean, I understand she's had a rough day, but like she does not have her shit together. So we're back on the plane, and Cage rudely demands that. I would just call her Chesty LaRue. What's her name?
Denise.
Eddie.
Who's Venice?
The drug addict?
The drug
No,
addict or the
no, Hattie, the
Hattie.
flight attendant. Yeah. But she comes in and he demands, go get what's her face's purse, go get her stuff. The other flight attendant. He's kind of a dick about it. Opens. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Very complex movie. Lots of notes. Okay, so she brings in the purse and she dumps all of the shit out. And he opens up her planner, and conveniently it just says Bible study 7:30. Big letters, so we can't miss it. And that's enough confirmation for old Nick. He's sure. But we go into back. We go, I guess, into coach. And the passengers are still there's the one guy who's into the conspiracy theories and stuff. He's still going on and on, really dragging out this shit that we already know. Talking about wormholes and other crap. The wife of the football player pulls out the missing gun that we've been alluding to the multiple times we've seen the empty sack of the man's clothes. She had the gun the whole time. She starts accusing other passengers of working for her husband about stealing her daughter. She starts alluding to them that he paid all of them so that they'd help him steal the kid. Anyway, back in the cabin, a lot of back and forth. The cat's out of the bag. It was God's fault. And the reason he knows this is because his wife told him all about it. So the cat's out of the bag for the audience, but also for him, because turns out Hattie did not know about his wife at all. Stupid idiot. But whatever. Oh God. Anyway, back in coach, the standoff continues. They really drag this out. I gotta say, this is probably my least favorite scene of the whole movie. I don't really care. I don't know. It just felt like it took an hour. She's going on and on, says he paid all of them.
Well, because it's the logic leap. Again, they expect the audience to be dumb enough to buy the idea that, all these people are so shocked that it has to be the most reasonable thing. And apparently the most reasonable thing is that a baseball player or football player or whatever he was has enough money to ground a plane, get her drugged while that happens, take the child off the plane, get it back in the sky. That's what she thinks happened.
I can understand. I mean, I can understand someone like mentally breaking down and like, oh,
sure,
it's this, but like the denial of everything that's going on only makes sense in this world that no one knows anything about the biblical rapture. That's yes. The only way that this scenario can play out is like, no, it's like it. Like in The Walking Dead, they never once say the word zombie. Like in this world, no one ever says the word zombie. No one knows about it. It's like completely unknown. In this world, the rapture, except for a few geniuses who had insider knowledge, only they know that the rapture exists. And
the rapture was an inside job.
Yes, it was for a fact coming because his wife knew about it.
In detail.
Well, also, this whole kidnap conspiracy theory, they didn't even establish that the football player had a bad relationship with the kid and the wife.
No.
So why would he do that anyway?
Yeah,
it's
and
completely
also,
out of left field.
Yeah, and also just from the film point of view and part of the false advertising, this is the actress playing the crazy mother is Jordan Sparks. Youngest ever, at least at that point, youngest ever American Idol winner, and third or fourth name above the title on the poster. But it's an hour and 10 minutes of the movie before she actually has a legit scene. So,
and also it would have been so easy to do this, to set this up you just need to have the mother be incredibly overprotective of the child, clearly showing that something is off about this trip that they're on, as if she's trying to take her kid and get away from a custody battle or something.
But there's
she should
none
have
of that.
got angry when she came back to the seat and saw her daughter talking to Melvin.
Yes.
But the problem is that Melvin's
angry.
Melvin's a piece of shit already, and he's talking to a child. So it's like, I interpreted that as, oh, you gotta, because she's not like super crazy about it. She's just like, oh, I told you not to talk to strangers. Like,
yeah, she's
so
don't bother the man.
Yeah.
So I never once thought that she had anything off about her.
Yeah.
By the way, yeah, I don't know if you guys said this because I stepped out for a second, but Trevor put up the rating, PG-13. It was given a PG-13 for some thematic elements, brief drug content, violence, and peril.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, there's a lot of peril in this film. It's very frightening.
I know sometimes ratings are given for tone as well.
Yeah.
Just what happens, but, I still think a PG-13 is a bit of a stretch for Old Left Behind.
Well, anyway, this woman is ranting and raving still. And this is when the old addict woman pipes up and says, I know where she is.
Yeah,
back on Earth, because fuck it.
Earth.
Down below, Chloe enters a church, sees a pastor, and is relieved. But because she thinks, oh well, this pastor's here, that means it can't have be that thing, And he confirms, oh, it was that thing, and. So let me go back to the plane. So back on the plane, the addict is explaining the rapture. She went to a summer camp or something, a Bible camp when she was little, and she just knows vaguely of it. Again, still more knowledge than anyone else in this universe has. So at the 1 hour and 14-minute mark, we get the huge twist that this entire movie is built around. That it's the rapture. That's the whole point. Like this, yep. I feel like this was meant to be a Shyamalan twist. It's almost an hour and a half into the movie, and like, well, no fucking shit. Of course, it's the rapture, and it's like all of this stuff. Like the movie only works in this universe if no one's heard of the rapture. But this twist only works if no one in like our real world has heard about the rapture.
Yeah.
It's just infuriating because nothing really happens in this movie. It's just like one thing after another that's like misdirects and stuff. And like, what could this be? It's a mystery. That's the whole point of the movie. Nothing actually interesting happens. So if your whole movie is built around that, it doesn't work.
You know what would be interesting though is a movie that makes itself look as if it's a film about the rapture. So let's say you start after everybody's gone, you get the twist, the reveal that it was the rapture. But actually, when these people tried to find their way in through the rapture is not the biblical rapture. It's something else. Like it fucking takes you to like a horrible alien planet or something. Like that'd be very interesting.
Tyler, bleep that out and let's make that movie.
All right,
that's cool.
How much money you guys got? I've got 2 charged batteries.
Let's go.
What does God need with a starship?
Let's make that again. Just make 5 all over again, or whatever number that is.
We'll get the right amount of rock monsters.
That's right.
So, the handsome Jack, what's his name? He manages to calm down Jordan Sparks, and she comes to the conclusion, oh, she's gonna kill herself with the gun. So she starts pointing it at her own heart, and he has to talk her out of that too because his mom killed herself, and even though that everyone just decided that, oh yeah, your daughter was raptured to heaven by God. Well, what if she's still out there? Just adding more doubt to the thing. Anyway, but like, no, she wouldn't want you to kill yourself. Maybe she would. Maybe you'd get to see her. I don't know. So she gets talked out of it, and then blah blah blah. Then we're back to Hattie. Or no, yes, in the cabin, Hattie is still crying over the most obvious thing in the world, and almost more upset than. She doesn't seem so upset about like him having a wife as it is that he's going with the God angle of this whole thing. Like she's so like adverse to God that she can't believe it. She's just pissed off. That seems like it's upsetting her more than like the adultery and everything. So now we're back at the church, and Chloe honestly makes some good points to the pastor about, just why would God do this shit? And but then he kind of says, well, it's not about so much as that, is that it's what's coming. There's gonna be like 7 years of like, pretty bad stuff. So get ready. And then she starts to storm off, but not before saying to the pastor, listen to you. Why should I? You didn't even listen to you. And then he just starts weeping into his own hands, and that's it.
Yeah, that's a good zinger. She leaves on that good zinger.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was thinking the same thing. What the fuck what's this guy? This is the last guy I'm going to listen to now.
Yeah.
Okay, back to me, or I'm Zach Shaw now, so I'm more handsome and yes. Okay.
Quick time check. We have 34 minutes.
Here we go.
Next time.
They're vanishing. What the fuck was the movie called? Sickness House. I get the Sickness House mixed up with that other thing we watched.
The Thirsting?
The Thirsting. For some reason, Thirsting plus Sickness House in my mind makes Vanishing. Plus, we're watching this fucking Left Behind. Anyway, I don't think we're going to make it, but let's try.
Here we go. We're back on the plane. Chad Michael Murray enters the cockpit to show that the air marshal is gone. They are interrupted by Marcus, somebody who works in like Nick keeps saying dispatch. I assume he means he's like in an airport, like he's in like a tower.
Yeah.
But anyways, he explains that millions of people are missing. So it's now our cast of characters are learning this at different times, what they think happened. And it's all starting to revolve around this concept of millions missing, rapture, etc. Marcus explains that there are no airports for them to land in. So they're going to have to go inland. This is not good because Nick doesn't have enough fuel. They can't land in the water for a specific reason. I don't remember why. And so anyways, Nick just gets on the horn. They lose Marcus and he gets on there. He's like, I just need a runway. Give me a runway. And nobody responds. So then we cut back to Chloe. She's walking over a bridge while having an existential crisis. She looks up at the ladder that leads to the top of the bridge. Boom, we're back. Nick explains to Chad Michael Murray that they are on fumes. They need someone to clear a runway for them. Nick laments that he has to land the plane so everyone on board can undo some of their mistakes. Barf is what I wrote. Okay, in the back of the plane, Big Oil walks up to Venice and asks if she's...
I know exactly who you meant too. But
this is Joe's old guy.
Yeah.
If Joe's still awake.
I'm awake. I'm not interrupting. I'm letting you guys do the thing.
I appreciate that, Joe. Thank you. You know how much Sickness House means to me. But anyways, Big Oil walks up to Venice and he asks her, hey, are you so-and-so's daughter? He explains he used to work with her father. He says that he met her at her father's office one time, and he remembers that he had a desk, a big old desk, and he had all this shit in the room, but then she had a tiny desk next to his. And she says that was sometimes the only time she got to see him. How sad. Big Oil says he has a daughter, and he barely ever saw her. He then grabs a bullhorn from under her seat. He turns towards the camera and he screams into it directly at the audience that he wishes he didn't care so much about business, money, and meetings, and he cared more about his family. Do you get it? Are you there, God? It's me, bad screenwriting.
It's me, Big Oil.
Big Oil here.
Big Oil.
We then get a 8-second shot of Chloe climbing up the bridge. That's it. Stop this fucking editing madness. Just tell one story at a time.
Right.
But they don't have any story to tell. So anyways, we're back in the plane. Nick asks Chad Michael Murray to try and find his daughter. Chad Michael Murray then says, in a way that any other normal human being would be fucking weirded out by this. I was actually already doing it the whole time. You see, I haven't stopped being able to think about your daughter. And Nick Cage, being Nick Cage, looks at him and he's like, yep, I approve of this future bang. He then grabs the comm and he shouts into it, hey, I still need a runway. Don't forget this plot point. Chloe finishes her monumental climb to the top of the bridge, and she just stands there surveying the landscape. We're back on the plane. Chad Michael Murray's satellite phone doesn't have a signal. Nick asks him if he was with his daughter when she got the concert tickets. Boo-hoo. He explains that Chloe was hurt, but that she still loves him. Nick pulls the tickets out, and he hands them to Chad Michael Murray. and it's written on it, on the envelope. It says, well, like when you open it up, it says, "This is the saddest day of my life." So I think presumably Chloe wrote this on there when she gave it to him.
Ticketmaster put it on there because they get to comp the tickets and they're pissed. They get lost a couple of bucks.
But anyways, he wants his daughter to know it's not her mother's fault. That's very important to him. So anyways, we're back to Chloe and the shittiest, most self-righteous part of the movie. Some Christian music ballad just starts blasting as a helicopter or drone shot starts panning around Chloe as she's atop this bridge looking out over the land. It's interspersed with shots of the crumbling city nearby, and Chloe, like it cuts into shots of Chloe in front of a green screen that look like shit. Anyways, Chloe's talking to the sky. She's talking to her mother, and she says that she knows that she hurt her mother, and she's sorry for blaming her for pushing the family away. And then she leans forward. Oh my gosh, is she gonna do it? She looks down. Oh my gosh, it's so far below, and all this metal and train track, that's sure to hurt. Is she gonna kill herself? But no, there's nothing about this character that would make you ever think they are going to do this. We get it. Without God and your family, you have nothing to live for. We get it, Kirk Cameron. But guess what, dickhead? There's a fucking Little Debbie factory about 3 miles outside of town, and it's now completely unguarded. I'm going to go ham on some fucking zebra cakes, and no amount of post-rapture guilt is going to make me commit suicide. I'm going to commit gluttony, bitch. Anyways, sorry, I have some thoughts about this moment.
Sickness house.
Anyways, back to the bridge. Chloe doesn't jump. Her phone rings. It's Chad Michael Murray. She's so happy that Chad's alive, and she asks, "Oh my God, is my daddy alive?" And Nicolas Cage is alive. She explains that her mother and brother are gone. Nick acts for 3 seconds. He's like, and then he responds that her mother told them about this. She knew. Anyways, they say they love each other. He explains their situation, that they need a place to land. We get some more sweeping shots of her on the bridge. The phone cuts out. She climbs down. Cut to action music immediately, and Chloe is running down the bridge. I mean, it's a quick jog, not quite a run, but she's moving. Anyways, cut to her running through town. Yes, in like these high heel boot things, and we then cut to her in town. We saw the shot of the landscape. She fucking was running for like 5 miles.
Yeah,
like this is like a half an hour of her just fucking hoofing it. But look at that.
That's right. It's power love.
Well, it's also the power of editing. And continuity errors. But anyways, she runs into a motorcycle. So the person that was on it apparently was raptured and left this bike in pristine condition. She hops on the motorcycle and takes off. And this, again, another little gripe of mine that I don't quite understand. After she takes off, and she just rides this motorcycle as if she fucking knows what she's doing. Like, not at any point is this established. And it's not to say that women can't ride motorcycles. I couldn't ride a motorcycle on my first try.
No, Chloe doesn't know how to ride a motorcycle.
Yeah. But they cut to a shot of the clothes of the raptured biker, and there's a helmet there. Like, I kind of have already been shitting on this movie for being too preachy, but this is a weird moment in a quote-unquote Christian film to show the helmet and then show your lead actress taking off on a bike very riskfully, not wearing the helmet because the town's in chaos. There's shit going on everywhere. At any point in time, she could have a collision.
Yeah. And on top of that, just the logistics. I know it's stupid to get into logistics of this, but the world of the movie, he was raptured while riding that motorcycle. All that shit, the cycle would have boom, 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 crashed, and the clothes would have been in the back, and the helmet would have flown. I mean, they wouldn't have been folded nicely right next to the motorcycle. That's what I saw. I'm like,
maybe he was just getting on the bike. He was just getting ready to go out on the town. He was calling his girlfriend to check in on her, and boom. But anyways, we're back on the plane. Nick explains to the passengers what we already know as the audience. Don't need this fucking information. He's basically like, we're going to land this fucker, come hell or high water, and if you pray, maybe you should pray. And that's it. Last part, Ryan. Take us home.
All right. Here we go. As Buck continues to attempt to contact Chloe, Ray realizes he's going to have to land the plane on the water. Cut to Chloe as she expertly weaves her motorcycle through town at high speeds. Cut to the plane. Hattie gets on the intercom and begins preparing everyone for the emergency landing. As Ray continues to try to get someone from JFK on the radio, because if he can't find a place to land at JFK, he's going to have to land this fucker in the water, and that's going to be very perilous. Chloe then arrives at some construction site. She ditches the motorcycle and finds an unlocked pickup truck. As she drives the truck, she calls Ray and Buck and says, "Hey, I think I know a place to land, the new east-west highway by the mall." And she thinks she can clear enough room. Ray informs them that the plane's guidance system is out and he won't be able to find it in the dark. Buck tells Chloe to open up her compass app on her phone and has her read her longitude and latitude coordinates. Ray then tells Chloe that he needs at least a mile of clear highway to land. She begins smashing the...
Oh, no. God damn it. God, give us back Ryan Matthew Ziegler right now. Joe, say something bad to make God look at us.
Oh, okay. Hey, God, you know your son Jesus? I'm going to suck him off if you don't bring... There you go, yeah.
What the fuck is going on? Did I cut out or something?
Yes,
what's going on?
Yes, Joe had to say something naughty to get you back. Let's go. Keep going. Keep going.
Okay. Anyway, she pulls up to clear. She can only clear away 0.8 of a mile before coming upon a Volvo SD45 compactor. I didn't know what to call the fucking machine, so I looked up the number on the side, and that's what it was. I had no idea what to call it. It's like a rolling machine construction thing. All right, but anyway, it's got a big roller on the front. She jumps on and starts it up, but being as it's built for construction and that speed, she expresses annoyance. And then what she ends up doing is she ends up tying some materials to it to make it run really slowly out of the way. But that happens a few minutes later, but now I told you. Okay, so on the plane, Ray tells Buck that he's going to need some sort of visual to know where the landing zone begins. The passengers are worried as the turbulence increases. Hasid sits next to the old woman and comforts her. The plane finally runs out of fuel. Ray says that he can glide down, but they're going to hit the ground hard without thrust to slow them down, just the brakes. Chloe calls Ray. He says he needs something big and bright to see where to go. She flashes her headlights, and he's like, I fucking see nothing. Big and bright. I laughed at that. She flashed her headlights because I would probably have done that too and been like, anyway. Buck questions whether 0.9 of a mile is enough room, and Ray says if it's not, I don't want Chloe to know. I don't want her to think this is her fault. Chloe grabs a gas can and begins dousing the equipment and the barrels. She lights the gas trail and drives away. Ray sees the explosion this causes and lowers the wheels on the plane. Chloe, still plowing through the sawhorses, hits a divot and the truck gets stuck. Ray begins to bring the plane in. It's a rough landing with even rougher visual effects. Luckily, the wing of the plane just misses hitting Chloe, her stuck truck as it flies over. The plane then slows to a stop. I mean, this is a several minute sequence, but you've seen it before. A lot of the shaking and scariness, but eventually they land the plane. It's fine. The old woman then says very sweetly, "We're home." Hattie opens the plane doors and inflates the escape slide thing that you've seen in every movie as shit blows up around the area because of Chloe's arson. As the cast begins jumping on the slide and leaving, Melvin pauses in trepidation. He's a little scared to jump down there. Well, Hasid, who fucking hates him, they were never buddies. He's been a piece of Melvin's treated him like a piece of shit buddies from day one. Because I watched very closely. This is not a fun little goof.
I like to think they learned something.
Hasid fucking kicks him in the back, which causes him to fly down. He lands face first at the end of the slide and then bounces right off onto the ground. It is straight out of The Naked Gun with Nordberg flying down in the background. It is a bit of physical comedy that I did not see coming at all. There's not been a single bit of comedy in this movie, and the fact that it's at the expense of Melvin makes it all the better. But you do not expect to see this fucking physical comedy with a little person bouncing around and then off. Well, and Hannah yells, "Hey, knock it off!" when Hasid does it. So Hasid gets the last laugh.
And that's a little person, you know, when Ryan says bouncing, he's bouncing. Like, he has no control over the trajectory of his body. Whereas, like, you know, like a normal sized person might be able to like reach the something to grab. He's airborne. Like, it's bizarre.
I watched it half a dozen times the first time, and then today I watched it 3 or 4 times. And it's, if you Google it, you can, or YouTube it. People have put this clip up if you don't want to sit through the whole movie. But anyway, so that's a good little funny comedic bit to end things. Chloe realizes the survivors, reaches the survivors, and she gives Buck a hug. Ray apologizes to Hattie for lying. Chloe hugs Ray. She gives him Irene's jewelry. and they look at the skyscape and they look at all the flames and everything that's going on. And Buck says, looks like the end of the world. And Chloe says, this is just the beginning. And the three of them hold hands as we crane back. The music swells, boom, and there is the end of Left Behind on a scale of malevolent to benevolent. Well, since it's our team's pick, Sean, go ahead.
I think Left Behind can be best summed up in two hit song from the early 90s, Lemon. Nobody gets that reference. It's okay.
The U2? Lemon.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Nice.
You know it. You know it.
I know fucking Lemon.
I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you. Yeah. No, this was an interesting experience for me because like I said, I went in, I did no research whatsoever. So I was watching it completely blind. I didn't read any plot synopsis. I didn't know if there was a connection to the Kirk Cameron Left Behind. So I just thought it was a coincidence that it had the same title. So I just was just flying blind here and sucked ass. If Nicolas Cage was not in this movie, I would not be as pleasant as I am right now. Because you watch this movie just to see the next Nick Cage scene, him walking his ass through it, And look, it just felt like a bad M. Night Shyamalan wannabe movie, and I already sat through Old, so I didn't need to sit through this.
Yeah.
Who's next, Sean?
Oh, buddy. You know what? Let's go with Nick.
Okay, obviously it's bad. Obviously it's malevolent. I'm not proud to say I was a little bit captivated with it. Not because it was interesting, but I find the premise interesting, which is that's not on the filmmakers at all. They didn't do anything right. But this idea, I mean, anyone could make a movie about the rapture. Like, that might be interesting. It's an interesting concept. There were certainly interesting concepts touched upon, but just completely just devastated in this movie, the way they did it. So, so I can't really say, I liked it other than I was very attentive, more than most movies we watch. Also, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever looked at. It seemed like it was competently made to a degree. All that being said, it's malevolent. It's bad. So, Trevor.
I'm in pretty much agreement with Nick here. There is unfortunately a couple of things that really worked for me in this movie, but also, like Nick said, it's not because of the filmmakers. I feel like this as an idea is decent. It is a pretty good movie. It's a pretty good story, and I do believe that you could make a good, even if it is a very Christian leaning movie, I do think someone could make a legitimately good movie out of this. Unfortunately, it looks like maybe the third time is going to be the charm, because these have been awful. So I'm not going to say any more. We got a time limit here. This is Malevolent. Joe, what did you think about Left Behind?
He's not listening.
I absolutely am listening. So with this movie, it's completely malevolent. There's nothing really good about this. I think if God were in front of me right now, I'd probably spit in his mouth just for allowing this movie to have been made in his name. I mean, I can't think of really anything good with Left Behind. I'm going to go completely malevolent. Nothing worth watching here. Just skip it. It's not worth your time. I'll go with Tyler.
Something we didn't touch on. Like I'm looking at the score sheet for how Malevolent Madness works. The third event of the Fight for Summer Fright. The movie is competently made for the most part. Like so it's like you can't really knock it for like how it looks. It sounds fine. Like most of the green screening, especially cockpit stuff, is fine. It works. It's serviceable. I mean, some of the CGI is pretty bad, like the plane exteriors and stuff. But in general, like I have a gripe with being told how to feel about stuff. And so like I'm conflicted because if this was like a classic evangelical or Christian film, I would fucking loathe it. But it's like it's trying to tread that line. And I don't know if that makes me angrier that it's like you're trying to confuse me or where it lands. It's malevolent, period. Like I don't like it. It's not fun to watch in a bad way. Like Ryan said, unfortunately, poor, is it Martin is his actual name? Going down
Martin Kleba. Yeah, I played Martin.
Yeah, going down the bubble slide or whatever, the inflatable slide is like the one funny moment in this movie. It's just not enjoyable. I did see this movie after it initially came out, after it was on DVD. I remember watching it for a bad movie night. And none of it stuck with me, like none of it. Like I don't remember being upset about any Christian stuff. I don't remember being upset about like it being bad. It was just not memorable. And it's just, I don't know. I don't even know who it's for. Like, I don't know who it's for except for Christians. But then again, it's like, they're trying to like shirk that, image almost. It's like, so I don't know if this was for, because again, when I think about it, yeah, there was a baggie of heroin in this movie. Like that's a weird choice to make. And like, they could have easily cut that out for a lower rating. They just chose to do that. So again, I just think it's an incompetent film, period. Like it's made well, but I just think what was the purpose? The execution's fine, but what was the purpose behind it? That's a mess. Malevolent, dog shit. Next.
Excellent.
Is that Ryan?
Yeah.
Ryan's last one. Yeah.
I'm not gonna be left behind. Here I go.
All right.
Yes, this is a bad movie. I feel it goes hand in hand with the spirit of August because it's a bad movie, but it's also a big movie. It's a famous movie to a certain extent. It was a mainstream thing. And it's boring, and it's not bad in a memorable way. A lot of these movies we watch, even the ones we really hate, we can remember them. We there's something about them that we laugh about, or we bring up again later, or we find a way, the Thirsting, Mickey Rooney, or something. Mm-hmm. Left Behind is one of those bad movies. It's not in the spirit of Malevolent movies. It's just bad. It's like inoffensively bad though. It just sort of, it just kind of lays there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just, it's nothing special. Like Tyler said, it's just, it's just a bad movie. It's a movie that you're not going to enjoy. And you're not going to hate it. Maybe you're not going to rant about it. You're going to forget about it. But for the spirit of August, I was like, that's it. It's a very bland, bad crap movie. And it's a bit of a cash grab too, because we already had 3 of these movies, and it was somebody that got the rights to the book and thought, well, there's bigger money to be had here. This should be blockbuster stuff. This shouldn't be TV stuff. And their gamble failed. But I am now it's Malevolent.
Wait, what? Are you done? No, I'm still recording.
What the fuck is going on?
I think Joe's dad is trying to rapture him from their house.
Oh, is that his dad?
Shh, everybody be quiet. We gotta listen. Damn it. Joe.
Okay,
Joe.
Yep.
What was that?
What's going on?
What's happening?
My dad came in for a second.
For what?
You're not done yet?
He needs me to, the brakes on the van are going out, so I gotta take him in and, I gotta follow him into the place, and then I don't know.
You gotta bring him back home. I understand.
Okay.
Well, if you got to take off, Ryan and Sean just have to share their reviews and stuff. So if you need to take off, you can go.
I got a couple minutes.
Okay. Well, yeah. Anyway, it's my review. It's a Malevolent movie. It's crappy.
What are your arguments for it being a false advertising?
Well, I put the poster, one of the main posters, in the Slenderman chat, and for me, it really comes down to the poster makes everything about the lighting, everything about the poster. For me, it screams a lot more excitement. It looks like the Godzilla 2014 poster in some ways. It's got, in the poster, it looks like an entire fucking city is on fire, and we're on this long road.
Yep.
Well, you know what that poster reminds me of, Ryan?
What was that?
Hold on, I'm going to share it in the chat. It reminds me of another poster.
Oh, God.
Hold on. It's a little too close for comfort.
Okay.
I can't wait. I feel like I should know what this is going to be.
You know He shared the Butcher the Baker's poster that was created for us, not by us.
Yes,
it was created
not by
for
us.
us by the distribution
I
guys.
was gonna say I don't recognize
Is the
this
cookie
poster.
really big or are they really small?
It's both.
I think they're very small.
Well, using the asphalt of the road to scale, I think the cookie's massive.
Sure.
You know what? You're not wrong. In the photo, there's some fire. There's some apocalyptic looking stuff. We're on a road, and it also does not convey the movie at all. So
no, big false advertising. There's no giant cookie in Butcher the Baker. Sorry.
Malevolent.
Anyway, yeah. And my final thing is the Left Behind poster makes some. Of course, Nicolas Cage is the big name, and Chad Michael Murray is a big character. Cassie Thompson, who played Chloe, is a big character. But then they're like, fuck, who else we got? Nikki Whalen, who played Hattie, and then Jordan Sparks. So Jordan Sparks is barely in this fucking thing. And I know she was famous, but it makes it look like, one, these guys are all going to be working together on some sort of fucking post-apocalyptic mission.
Yep.
The way they're positioned. This is, when I see the poster, this is not the movie I watched.
This looks like a post-apocalyptic road movie. This looks like a Zombieland kind of a movie.
Yeah. And some of the billing above the title is a little sketchy. It's like they needed to know more. They're like, well, fuck, we'll grab Nikki Whalen. I would have rather, I think that we should have had Martin Kleba up there long before Jordan Sparks.
I think more
he makes more of an
impact. Him. Yeah. I think general audiences would recognize him.
Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean, dude.
He's in like at least 3 of those things. I think even 4 of them fucking things.
That's immediately what I thought when I saw him in this pop up in this movie. I'm like, oh, it's Pirates of the Caribbean guy.
Yep.
So.
Okay, and what are your rage reviews? Your 5 rage reviews?
All right, let me grab them real quick here. They're quick. They're short ones. Some for the most part. One says, "Can I select 0 stars?" I just grabbed them all from IMDb. Can I select 0 stars? It's about a bizarre disappearance of millions of people. Oh no, wait! It's about Nicolas Cage landing a plane. Meh.
I appreciate that.
That's a good one.
I got one here. A movie about stuff and a reason to always wear clean underwear. Here's my movie review of Left Behind. It's a movie about stuff and bad music plays and more stuff happens before people get on a plane, and then a little person, although that's not the word they use, makes you laugh, and more stuff happens on a plane, and the pilot gets 2 tickets to see U2, and then the little person has a attitude problem, and people disappear, and their clothes are folded perfectly where they used to be, and then someone kicks the little person off the plane, and other stuff happens, and more bad music plays, and then you are led to believe they're making a sequel, and then it ends, and someone does a terrible rendition of Larry Norman's "I Wish We'd All Been Ready," and you are left wondering if U2 played the concert the next day.
That's good. That's good.
This one here is called Chloe Cries, the movie. Oh my God, what a terrible movie. Terrible effects, no script, and a girl who cries from start to finish. Maybe God takes away the ones who don't use cell phones and leaves the rest of the morons hanging about with their stupid phones nailed to their skulls all the time. Chloe cries a lot. Chloe drives cars, trucks, motorcycles, caterpillars, picks up a 200-kilogram motorcycle by herself, clears an airport runway with a truck, lights up bonfires with jet fuel and a lighter. She climbs up bridges, and finally she saves the day. There's more to that. That's a long one, but that's just the main chunk.
Hey, Ryan, I got a couple here too, man.
Oh, if you got some by all means.
Yeah, absolutely. If you got a zinger, you can save it for the end.
I got one more zinger.
Okay. All right, this one, I like this from the San Francisco Chronicle. It says, quote, "The lack of concern for the way people actually interact renders this film useless as entertainment." I also subjected my wife and mother-in-law to this movie, so I've got their reviews.
Excellent.
My wife fell asleep 15 minutes into it. She didn't even realize the rapture happened.
She just kept going, "Where's Raimi? Where's Raimi?"
Raimi.
Did she get up looking for your boys, Sean?
Yes. And is praying that they got raptured because they were acting up today. And this is what my mother-in-law had to say about it. It said, quote, "No plot whatsoever except Nicolas Cage. He's boffing one of his coworkers. Then suddenly everybody disappears. Then that was the end of the movie. No reason for the movie. It was meaningless. It shouldn't have even happened."
Yeah, I agree.
You heard it here first, folks. The rapture shouldn't have happened.
That's right.
Here's the last one I got. And this, okay. Awful movie. Not advised to watch. I'm going to read this as written. Awful movie with bad scenario and masked up direction. I actually regret the 1 hour that I spent watching this movie. Nicolas Cage, he is my favorite actor. Don't know what happened to him for acting in such bad movie. I advise everyone not to see this movie and regret the time waste on it. As a movie fan guy, I enjoyed the Nicolas Cage's movies like Con Air and The Rock, but the thing that I guess he's broke and need to walk on the bath again with bad selection movies like Angry Drive, his final movie Left Behind. This is 2014. And one more thing to mention, why there's a lot of blame for God for whatever happened to us. The script of the film makes us feel like we are the poor people and God the bad one, which it is the opposite. If the voting contains 0, I will give 100 times 0 for this movie.
Which is still 0.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
There you have it. We
All
wrapped
right.
up.
Yeah.
We wrapped up the fight for Summer Fright.
This is the conclusion of the fight for Summer Fright, and a little bit of housekeeping here, folks.
We didn't even hit our timer. I said, nice work,
Excellent.
boys.
Excellent. Sean, you still have to rate and or watch if you haven't watched. I don't know what I'm saying. I think you've watched Aquanoids, but you need to rate it from my understanding. And you also need to watch and rate Cheerleader Camp and the Ancient Something Scream of the Mummy and Lumberjack Man.
That's a good one.
Yes, and then we still haven't rated. We haven't rated any of the August movies. I'm going to give you guys the rating sheets tomorrow, so you can rate all of them.
Send all the rating sheets over. Okay, I can get to work on that.
And then Mr. Nicholas, you still have to do Cheerleader Camp.
Oh,
Uninvited.
Oh, another good one.
And, just those two. Those are the two fun ones.
Yeah, those and Lumberjack Man, I think, have been my favorites so far.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for the wrap up episode,
but that's it. That's it, wow. Guys. You folks at home, you are listening to this episode November 1st of 2022. Look forward to the awards wrap up, Christmas of 23.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Any other final thoughts, Joe, before you have to go something with a car?
Oh, I'm gonna try to think of a great potion, some kind of great beverage me and Nick can drink.
Okay, that's true. Sean, I don't know if we've talked about this, if Ryan shared it with you, but at the award show,
he touched on it.
Okay,
I'm confused. I'm a little confused on what we're supposed to do, though. Exactly.
So everybody has to develop their own drink as a team. So 3 drinks, and if possible, I'm going to try and get the supplies to make those drinks to everybody, so that way everybody can participate in drinking the drinks, and we will you'll get a bonus to your total score. Because I can't remember what the name of the award is, but there's one for best score overall for the team, and that will go to that team. And I can say that there's 1 or 2 teams here that might need that bonus in order to stay in contention, because we've got a front runner right now, but it all comes down to Malevolent Madness. What happened in August?
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So how is the drink development going?
Pretty
How's
well.
Camp Two Hands?
Oh, Camp Two Hands is, as far as I'm concerned, we got the drink portion in the bag.
Okay. Yeah. Joe, how is Gastronaut Camp's bagged drink?
We've just been huffing blue Mountain Dew out of a toilet. So
I got it stirred up nice and good. And they're going to be serving some good stuff up there.
Camp Cardiff Giant?
I haven't really thought about it yet.
Okay.
To be honest with you about the drink part of it, because I'd kind of forgotten a little bit about it, and then I was kind of confused how we were going to be doing it.
Yeah,
like as a group with the Zoom and whatnot.
Oh, don't worry. I'll if I have to mail stuff out, I'll get it to you.
Okay, because we're the camp that's out of state.
Yeah,
that's right. Of us. Yeah, we're the out of state camp. I haven't even thought about that. I should have come up with an out-of-state name, but that's still
our foreign correspondent.
Yeah. Border busters. We broke the borders. We got out of Illinois.
You sure did.
For better or worse, we'll see.
Well, that's it, folks. 9 movies. 9 movies.
Good Lord.
Yes.
Wow, that was a hell of a time.
A lot of movies.
It sure was. Good God.
All right, so everybody ready for
maybe too many movies?
Ready for the Hunt for Bad October?
I am. I actually am, because I'm starting to feel those. Even though it's August, I'm starting to feel those
the tingles in your loins,
those chill breezes every now and then.
You know what I mean? I've been thinking about it.
The other day, I saw my first crunchy leaf.
Ooh. Oh wow!
And that just, I just look at Roddy over here, and I think, soon, buddy, pretty soon it's your time of the year, my friend.
They've
Oh, yeah,
already
Nick.
got
Fire up the
store.
award maker because you got to make some more Roddies.
Here we go.
Yes.
Whoa, there you go. It's like
Excellent.
a Dr. Seuss machine.
It's got a big lever on it.
All right. Well, it's been a late night. We definitely don't want to upstage Sickness House.
Heavens no.
Left Behind does not deserve that.
No, not at all.
All right, guys. Well, it's good to see you, Sean. It was good to see you. I don't know if you've been reading the comments. The fans are glad to have you back for 2 of the 9 episodes.
They'll take what they can
I'm
get.
happy to be back, man. It's nice to. Yeah, no doubt, Louise.
You got a couple of good titles to talk about. So yeah, Left Behind, and then
the Trawlin is left behind right away.
yeah, you had a couple
Sean should have been there for Lumberjack, man. That would have been a good one.
I know. That one was
Yeah.
so good, Sean.
There's a
You
lot
have
of
a good
good
time
moves in
watching that. Yeah.
All right, folks. Well,
alrighty.
If you still need that kiddo baby genius review, I can
yes,
snap up something for you.
Oh, don't worry. That won't come out till October 31st. So
Okay, we got time.
yeah, you got time.
Well, you save it for Christmas since it's a Christmas movie.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then this can come out in February for Valentine's Day.
Yep.
All right, folks.